Chapter 120. Shang Junlin held Shan Yu's hand and walked over. Hearing this, he couldn't help but look at Shan Yu. Before Fong Darren sent the young man back to the capital, he wrote down the young man's background in the memorial. If there was no accident, the young man had never come to the capital. As far as he knew, Shan Yu had never been to Subei, so the two shouldn't have crossed paths. Understanding this point, Shang Junlin looked at the young man with scrutinizing eyes. Shan Yu carefully looked at the young man's appearance. The young man's half-length black hair was casually tied behind his head. His appearance was handsome with a hint of immaturity, and the color of his eyes was light. If he really had contact with the young man, it was impossible for him not to have any impression of him. "Are you sure the person you saw was me?" Shan Yu asked. Shang Junlin held Shan Yu's hand tightly. The young man thought for a while and nodded. Then, under the gaze of Shan Yu, who was looking at a stranger, he shook his head slightly. "I don't know." Shan Yu pulled Shang Junlin to the stone table and sat down. "What's going on?" "When I was young, I saw a person who looked like Gue Jun." The youth finally reacted. The first time he saw that person was many years ago. That person's appearance had given him a great shock when he was young. So much so that when he saw Shan Yu, who looked almost the same as that person, he couldn't help but ask this question. Shan Yu and Shang Junlin looked at each other. They didn't expect to hear such a sentence from the young man's mouth. "Do you still remember what happened at that time?" Shan Yu asked. "I don't really remember. I only remember that Subei was very chaotic and there were wars everywhere. I accidentally fell into the trap of the northern desert people and was rescued by a very good-looking person. Many years had passed, and he was still young at that time. The young man could only remember the beautiful face of that person under the moonlight and the cold temperature when that person held him. That was the first time he was held in someone's arms since he could remember. It was also the only time. It was a secret hidden in the deepest part of his memory that he would never say." After the young man finished speaking, he glanced at Shan Yu and added, "Just as good-looking as Gue Jun." Before coming to the capital, Lord Fong had told the young man many things about the capital and told him to follow the rules and be obedient. The young man trusted Lord Fong very much and agreed to everything. On the way to the capital, Lord Fong had entrusted him with many things about the capital, such as the emperor, the nobles, and so on. That person had told him that the emperor was as bright as the moon and could be recognized at a glance. At first, he didn't believe it, but when he saw the real person, he suddenly realized that the person wasn't exaggerating. Seeing the young man staring at Shan Yu, Shang Junlin's eyes flashed with displeasure. It was another person who looked like her. Together with Shan Yu, this was the second one. Shan Yu lowered his eyes and pondered. In his previous life, he had lived for more than 10 years, but he had never encountered such a situation. Was it a coincidence? Or did his rebirth change something? Shan Yu was more inclined to the latter. Shang Junlin knocked on the table. "Tell me what you know." Although he was displeased, this matter was very likely related to Shan Yu's past. Shang Junlin couldn't just ignore a little displeasure in his heart. "That's all I remember. That person saved me, put me in a safe place and left. Later, I searched many places, but I couldn't find any trace of this person. Later, I secretly asked people to inquire, but they all said that they had never seen such a person." Suddenly appearing and disappearing without a trace, Shan Yu thought of his mother. Could the person the young man met be related to his mother? After confirming that the young man really didn't know any more information, Shan Yu gave up asking. Shang Junlin didn't want the young man to keep focusing on Shan Yu, so he took the initiative to ask about Subei. The young man followed Fong Darren, so he was very clear about what happened to Fong Darren during this period. Before coming, Fong Darren also told him that Her Majesty would ask him some questions. He didn't want him to hide anything and answer truthfully. The young man remembered Fong Darren's instructions. When he heard Shang Junlin's question, he pulled back his thoughts and talked about what happened in Subei. The young man was clearly prepared in advance. His answers were clear and organized, without any superfluous words. Through the young man's words, Shan Yu and Shang Junlin had a better understanding of what happened to Fong Darren in Subei. With a steady flow of supplies, the situation in Subei improved greatly. This time, the military escorts were sent all the way, and the Subei army was also there to provide support. There were no more incidents of bandits along the way. The group of hidden dragon guards that Gu Huai had brought with him was focused on investigating the internal problems in Subei. Other than saving Fong Darren, they hadn't shown their faces again. No one knew that they had already infiltrated the upper echelons of Subei and were collecting evidence. They were only one step away from delivering a fatal blow. Those upper echelons of Subei were still dreaming of pocketing the disaster relief supplies that were being sent to Subei from various places. The imperial court is really something. They actually skipped the main city and sent all these things to the surrounding small cities. They're just a bunch of foolish people. What's there to save? You can say these words in front of us, but you can't say them in front of those officials from the capital. I still know my limits. Come, let's continue drinking. The people drinking and making merry still didn't know that the scythe of the Grim Reaper was already hanging over their heads. Those refugees are also incompetent. We let them take advantage of the chaos to kill Fong Jun, but the result is great. They didn't manage to kill him and were even captured. Darren, those people won't sell us out, right? Do you think that I'm so stupid that I would leave evidence behind? No matter how Fong Jun interrogated those people, they would only get one result. They didn't know that Darren Fong only locked them up and didn't spend any effort to interrogate them. He already knew the result, so why bother? Shan Yu and Shang Junlin obtained more details about the assassination from the young man. They pretended to be refugees and acted. They had a good plan. If their plan succeeded, they would be able to provoke the conflict between the officials sent by the imperial court and the local people. At the same time, they would be able to clear their names. It's killing two birds with one stone. Shang Junlin tightened his grip on the cup in his hand. Shan Yu rescued the innocent cup from Shang Junlin's hand. Your Majesty, there's no need to be angry over these people who will be dealt with sooner or later. Darren Fong has already successfully handed over the task to the hidden dragon guards. After a few more days, those people won't be able to laugh even if they want to. Shang Junlin held Shan Yu's wrist and pulled her into his arms. If everyone can be like a you, I won't be so troubled. Your Majesty, don't think about these unrealistic things. Even if it's me, I won't be able to maintain my original self even after being in the imperial court for a few years. It was easy to say that power blinded people. Maintaining one's original self was easy, but since ancient times, how many people could actually do it? Let's not talk about this anymore. Is Yen Zhang going to bring people to the north soon? Shang Junlin held a strand of Shan Yu's hair and twirled it in his hand. The last time they went out of the palace, other than meeting the young man, they also met Yen Zheng. Coincidentally, there were a lot of supplies that needed to be transported to Subei from the capital. There were also military escorts for the entire journey. Yen Zheng wanted to take this opportunity to test the waters. He chose the northern desert as his first destination. In the private room, Yen Zheng expressed his thoughts. The relationship between the northern desert and our great Huan kingdom has been stable these years. I also have caravans going there. If we go to the northern desert at this time, we can not only borrow the military escort, but also go to the northern desert to scout for information. Shan Yu was taken aback by his bold idea. Choosing such a time of crisis to go over. I know, it's very dangerous, but at the same time, it will also be accompanied by great opportunities. Yen Zheng poured a cup of tea for himself and slowly drank it. As a businessman, we must not forget the words "seize the opportunity." I believe that the things in my hands can bring me a lot of wealth. Yen Zheng never hid his ambition. In front of Shan Yu and Shang Junlin, he didn't have to deliberately hide anything. Many times, being frank and open made people appreciate him more. It's good that you've decided. I'll prepare the things you need. When you arrive at the northern desert, be careful. Yen Zhang didn't expect Shen Yu to say words of concern. He was stunned for a moment and then said, "Even if it's for our long-term cooperation, I'll come back safely." Shang Junlin sat next to Shen Yu. At that time, he didn't have any reaction to this conversation. But after returning to the palace that night, he fiercely bullied Shen Yu. Now, there were still traces of him on Shen Yu's body. Shen Yu didn't expect Shang Junlin to suddenly mention this matter. He raised his eyebrows. "Your Majesty, you're not jealous this time?" Shang Junlin changed to rubbing the skin on Shen Yu's neck. There were still traces of him there. Not only on the neck, but also on other parts of the body that were covered. Shang Junlin's eyes darkened when he thought of that night when the young man's skin was dyed red little by little. "You, tell me, why am I jealous?" The man's voice was low and hoarse. When it entered Shan Yu's ears, it was as if he had returned to that night. The man also used the same voice and asked Shen Yu over and over again. If Shen Yu didn't answer, or if his answer didn't satisfy the man, he would be bullied even more severely. Shen Yu couldn't remember how many things he shouldn't have said under Shang Junlin's coaxing that night. Anyway, when he woke up the next day, there wasn't a single spot on his body that was unharmed. Shan Yu faintly felt a little hot when his memory was awakened. It's indeed in these 2 days. Shan Yu forced himself to clear those memories from his mind. His caravan will depart with the second batch of disaster relief supplies. Time passed in the blink of an eye. Yan Zheng followed the large group out of the city. During the rest time, he looked back at the capital and thought that abandoning those useless people to come to the capital was probably the most correct decision he had ever made. In Yuzhong Palace, Shan Yu's eyes were tightly closed. His long eyelashes fluttered uneasily, casting a shadow. Tears seeped out of the corners of his eyes, and the corners of his eyes were dyed with a layer of rouge, making him even more charming and moving. The tall man in black held him tightly in his arms and kissed him hard. Just like Shang Junlin himself, this kiss was rude and overbearing, with a strong sense of invasion. It was as if he was ruthless and wanted to tear the young man apart and eat him up. Shan Yu could only be forced to accept it. "You, don't think about other people. I will be angry." Shang Junlin moved back a little, his lips still pressed against Shan Yu's. "Your Majesty is unreasonable. You were the one who mentioned it first." Shen Yu opened his eyes. The mist in his eyes hadn't dissipated, and his eyes were glittering, making people sink into them at a glance. Shan Yu didn't forget that this time, it was Shang Junlin who mentioned Yan Zheng first. Because of what happened that night, he wouldn't mention Yan Zheng in front of Shang Junlin these days. Shang Junlin's kiss turned upwards, and finally kissed the pair of eyes that made him obsessed. Shan Yu closed his eyes and enjoyed the warmth of this moment. "This time, I misunderstood you," Shang Junlin apologized in a low voice, but the words he said had a deeper meaning. "You can be punished however he wants." Chapter 121. Shen Yu glared at him. "In the end, are you punishing me or punishing His Majesty?" Shan Yu didn't forget that after the last incident, he was bedridden for several days. Rather than punishing Shang Junlin, it was better to say that he was rewarding Shang Junlin. "Of course, it's punishing me. You can do whatever you want." Shang Junlin's voice was as soft as a whisper, with an inexplicable ambiguous meaning, like a hook that crossed Shan Yu's heart. The two were very close to each other. Shan Yu could clearly feel the change in the man's body, so she deliberately rubbed against him. As she wished, she saw the change in the man's face. What did His Majesty do wrong? Shan Yu deliberately said, "Why does he need to be punished?" Seeing that his goal was not achieved, Shang Junlin's heart flashed with a touch of loss. He wanted to feel Yu's enthusiasm and initiative again, but he didn't show it on his face. Yu said no need, so there is no need. Shen Yu's eyes moved, then she grabbed Shang Junlin's collar and slightly narrowed her eyes. "This is His Majesty's request, don't regret it when the time comes." Naturally. Shang Junlin couldn't ask for more. Shen Yu let go of her hand and withdrew from the man's arms. "Let's talk about this at night." Shang Junlin's goal has been achieved, so he didn't mind waiting for a while. He walked to the soft couch and sat down, then said, "Yu, do you know how much surprise those kings gave me? Is His Majesty talking about the supplies they sent to Subei?" Shan Yu followed and sat on the other side. Yes, it really opened my eyes. They said that the things in their hands are more abundant than the national treasury. It's really not a joke. Shang Junlin knew that these vassal kings were extremely rich. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given so much gold and silver just to please Shen Yu. However, he didn't expect that they had so much more than he had imagined. Not only Shang Junlin, but the other officials who received the news from the supervisory minister also sucked in a breath of cold air. If it weren't for this opportunity, they would probably never have known that the vassal king had so many things in his hands. No wonder the previous kings were so wary of the vassals. Isn't that so? Look at all these, and this is just one fief. Compared to the treasures in the national treasury, this isn't the only fief in the great Huan dynasty. At that time, His Majesty said that the vassals should also contribute. Who was against it? They even said that the vassal kings were also in a difficult situation, so we shouldn't force them. Is this their difficulty? Have too much money to spend? The Minister of Revenue couldn't help but raise his voice. After working together for so many years, all the officials knew the temper of the Minister of Revenue, so they were not surprised. Don't be in such a hurry to get angry. The Minister of Works patted the Minister of Revenue's shoulder and reminded him, "Isn't this just the first batch of supplies? Subei needs more than this." "You're right. If I had known that they had enough money and supplies, I would have asked for more. Fortunately, it's not too late. His Majesty's method of collecting and sending out batches is really good." When the others heard this, the corners of their mouths silently twitched, and they silently mourned for the vassals who were targeted by the Minister of Revenue. The Minister of Revenue sorted out the list and hurriedly prepared for the next stage of the collection of supplies. This time, he felt that if he didn't make the vassals bleed for the next batch, he wouldn't be the Minister of Revenue anymore. The vassals didn't know that the things in their hands were already targeted by the Minister of Revenue. "Your Highness, with so many things, do we really have to send them to Subei?" The steward of the prince's mansion was at a loss. "If we don't let them, the vassals were also very helpless. The court and the people of the world are watching. The people have already contributed. If we don't do anything, do you think His Majesty doesn't have enough and thinks we're an eyesore?" Did the vassals want to take out these things? Of course not. Who would complain about having too much money? But their way out had already been blocked. If they didn't give it, wouldn't it be announcing to the world that they were disloyal to the great Huan dynasty? They were just deterred by Shang Junlin at the beginning of the year, and now they didn't want to face him at all. The people this prince left in the capital have contacted His Majesty. His Majesty said that if we perform well this time and His Majesty is happy, not only will the past be forgotten, but we will also be rewarded by the court. This prince doesn't want anything, as long as His Majesty doesn't look at this prince. He was very clear that anyone who was targeted by Shang Junlin wouldn't have a good ending. Look at Prince Li, how glorious was he at the beginning, but now he was removed from the imperial family. Then look at Prince Yu, who was still trapped in the capital. He didn't want anything in this life, he just wanted to live the rest of his life in peace. There were many vassals who had the same idea. They had seen Shang Junlin's cruel side with their own eyes and knew how ruthless he was. Those who could live peacefully until now weren't stupid. They couldn't fight against Shang Junlin before, let alone the current full-fledged emperor. However, it was still necessary to feel the pain. Prince Yu's fief. Because Prince Yu himself wasn't there, the officials sent by the court worked together with the officials of Prince Yu's fief to raise the money. Shang Junlin had sent people in advance to find out how much the Prince Yu's fief could contribute. The officials sent by the court knew clearly how much the Prince Yu's fief could contribute. The final decision wouldn't exceed the capacity of the fief, and it would also make the Prince Yu's accumulated wealth bleed. Prince Yu was still in the capital, and the situation was unknown. The officials of his fief naturally didn't dare to play any tricks, so the whole process was very smooth. If Prince Yu knows this news, I don't know how angry he will be. After listening to Shang Junlin, Shan Yu couldn't help but laugh. "I will let someone tell him." Shang Junlin's tone had a trace of disgust. Shan Yu found that Shang Junlin now showed more and more emotions in front of him. When he first entered the palace, he almost felt that Shang Junlin was an angry monarch. I don't know what those people are worried about. It's been so long, but they still haven't made a move. Do they really think that your Majesty won't do anything to Prince Yu? That was why they were fearless and let Prince Yu stay in the secret prison. Maybe it's because they can't even take care of themselves. Yu, do you still remember those people who spread rumors? The Supreme Court got a lot of useful information from them and destroyed several of their strongholds in the capital. Didn't you say that those people couldn't get anything out of them? At first, they didn't know much. Later, they caught a small leader of a force in a tea house. Although this person's status wasn't high, he knew a lot. After being treated by the Supreme Court, he told them all the information he knew. The Supreme Court had caught so many people, but they still didn't get anything. The officials of the Supreme Court were also anxious. It wasn't easy to catch someone who knew something. They used all the means they could to get more information out of him. Hard work paid off. They really did get a lot of useful information. Although they hadn't caught the mastermind behind the scenes, that day wasn't far away. The Minister of Revenue acted quickly. In less than half a day, he drew up a new donation plan. He didn't delay and directly asked to see the Emperor. Shang Junlin wasn't very happy that his two-person world with Shan Yu was interrupted. Shan Yu just happened to want to see what the Minister of Revenue was going to do, so he proposed to go together. Imperial Study. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. The Minister of Revenue respectfully saluted the two. After the donation, the Minister of Revenue's view of Shan Yu changed greatly. When he saw Shan Yu this time, the excitement in his eyes couldn't be ignored. This is the next step of the plan. Your Majesty, please take a look. The Minister of Revenue presented the memorial. Eunuch Meng took the memorial and put it on the Emperor's desk. Shang Junlin opened it and looked at it with Shen Yu. The contents of this memorial were all against the vassal kings. Shan Yu, who was used to cheating the vassal kings, silently lit a candle for the vassal kings who were about to be ruthlessly exploited by the Minister of Revenue. This was simply stepping on the bottom line to ask for things from the vassal kings. The vassal kings couldn't afford it. Too ruthless. Your Majesty, as the vassal kings, since they enjoy the treatment of the Great Huan royal family, they should do their best for the Great Huan royal family. What's more, they are His Majesty's relatives. It's normal for them to solve problems for His Majesty. The Minister of Revenue talked a lot. The central idea was nothing more than that the vassal kings should contribute money and effort. Otherwise, they would be sorry for the people and the Great Huan royal family. For the first time, Shan Yu knew that the Minister of Revenue was so eloquent. Shang Junlin's knuckles knocked on the table. His voice was as calm as ever. Take it out for discussion in the court tomorrow. This was passed. The Minister of Revenue was overjoyed. Then, he looked at Shan Yu with expectant eyes. Does Your Majesty have anything else to add? Darren's method is perfect. Under such a gaze, Shan Yu felt a little pressure and couldn't help but pull Shang Junlin's sleeve. Shang Junlin chuckled and helped Shan Yu out. Well, you go prepare for this matter. Discuss it with the Prime Minister first. The Minister of Revenue slightly withdrew his gaze. Your Majesty. After the Minister of Revenue left the palace, he went straight to the Prime Minister's residence. The Prime Minister and Jiang Huaiqing were drinking tea in the courtyard. When they heard that the Minister of Revenue came to visit, they asked the housekeeper to bring him directly. Jiang Huaiqing poured a cup of tea and handed it to the Minister of Revenue. Darren, please. The Minister of Revenue was indeed thirsty. He took the cup and drank it in one gulp, saying, I just went to the palace to see His Majesty. His Majesty asked me to take it out at the morning court tomorrow. It was drafted so quickly. The Prime Minister was shocked by Fong Darren's speed. I had some ideas before. Today, I just put in the specific amount. It's not troublesome. The Minister of Revenue roughly explained his idea, that's it. Even though he knew that the Minister of Revenue's performance was amazing, the Prime Minister still twitched his mouth after hearing it. His Majesty agreed to this method? The Minister of Revenue nodded. I originally wanted to ask if Your Majesty had anything to add. Unfortunately, Your Majesty didn't say anything. The Prime Minister understood. If he added a little more, maybe the vassal kings would directly rebel. The Minister of Revenue was really amazing. Your Majesty, if we let the Minister of Revenue do this, will there really be no problems? Shen Yu sat next to Shang Junlin and rested his chin on one hand. Shang Junlin was reviewing the memorials. When he heard this, his hand paused slightly. He knows what he's doing. That's right. If he doesn't know what he's doing, how can he be in this position for so long? I'm worrying for nothing. Shen Yu yawned. I'll go wash up first. Shang Junlin continued to review the memorials, but he was a little absent-minded. After waiting for a while, he didn't see Shen Yu return. He put down his brush and walked towards the bedchamber. Mu Shi was waiting outside. When he saw Shang Junlin, he was about to salute but was stopped by Shang Junlin. No need. Is your Majesty inside? Yes. After receiving an affirmative answer, Shang Junlin pushed open the door. Dense hot air hit his face. Your Majesty, are you here to receive your punishment? A young man wearing only red underwear walked barefoot. His half-wet hair scattered in front of his chest and behind his back. He was as beautiful as a demon. Chapter 122. Shang Junlin's eyes instantly lit up. He walked in, quietly locked the door, and walked towards Shen Yu. The young man who had just taken a bath was simply wearing clothes, revealing a large part of his snow-white skin. Under the contrast of his red clothes, it was dazzlingly white. The water droplets on his hair fell and soaked his clothes, leaving a wet mark. Under the candlelight, the young man's temperament was like a demon, and his lazy appearance was even more seductive. His lover looked like this, but he could only look but not touch. It was indeed a sweet punishment. In order to avoid scaring people, Shang Junlin restrained the burning emotions in his eyes and approached the young man step by step. How does you plan to punish me? After getting closer, Shang Junlin subconsciously reached out and wanted to pull the young man into his arms. Shen Yu reached out a hand and pressed Shang Junlin's chest. Shang Junlin stopped and looked at Shen Yu in confusion. Are you? His eyes were burning hot, and they slid over Shen Yu's skin inch by inch. It was as if there was a pair of invisible hands caressing down along with his gaze. Shen Yu's body gradually turned red. Since it's a punishment, Your Majesty, of course you have to listen to me. Shen Yu felt that his throat was a little hoarse, so he cleared it. Okay, I'll listen to you. His words were polite, but his eyes were still unbridled. The first thing Your Majesty needs to do, Shen Yu glanced at the arm on his waist, let go of me and take a step back. Shang Junlin did as he was told, and a trace of regret flashed in his eyes. Shen Yu was satisfied with his obedience, so he turned and walked towards the inner room. Your Majesty, follow me. Hearing the footsteps behind him, Shen Yu was in a good mood and raised the corner of his mouth. After entering the inner room, the heat became more obvious. Shang Junlin looked around and found the source of the heat behind the screen. It was a huge bathtub. Dense steam was rising from the bathtub, spreading in all directions in midair, filling the entire space. Shen Yu didn't stop and walked straight to the bathtub. When he was almost there, he turned his head and invited, Your Majesty, do you want to join us? Shang Junlin's red robe slid down his shoulder, and his gaze fell on it, unable to move away for a long time. His Adam's apple bobbed violently as he walked over and said in a low and hoarse voice, I will serve you as she bathes. The red color slid off completely. Before Shen Yu could react, Shang Junlin carried her by the waist and gently put her into the water. Shen Yu looked up at Shang Junlin. The man's eyes were filled with uncontrollable emotions. He could only see himself in those long and narrow eyes, and he could only see himself. Shen Yu stretched out her fair arm from the water and hooked it around the man's neck. She gently exhaled, Your Majesty, do you like it? I like it. Shang Junlin patted the young man's back. His sleeves sank into the water, becoming the only trace of black in the water. Muscles of ice and bones of snow. Shang Junlin had always known that Shen Yu was very beautiful, but at this moment, the young man was so beautiful that he couldn't move his eyes away. Other than the young man, his eyes and heart couldn't put anything else. He wanted to leave his mark on the young man's snow-like skin. He wanted the red plum blossoms to slowly bloom on the snow. He wanted the young man to be stained with his traces from the inside out. He wanted to completely possess the young man in front of him. You. Shang Junlin's voice became even hoarser, with an unresolvable desire. He closed his eyes, not wanting to frighten the young man with the emotions in his eyes. With the man's hand supporting her from behind, Shan Yu let go of one hand and slid it down along the man's lapel, finally stopping at the waist belt. Your Majesty, my clothes are wet. Shan Yu raised her head, revealing the beautiful lines of her neck. Shang Junlin was still wearing the imperial robe, and his hair was meticulously tied behind his head. On the other hand, Shan Yu's black hair was loose, and water droplets slid down her shoulders and into the water. Shan Yu's fingers moved slightly, and the waist belt was untied. Didn't your Majesty say that you want to serve me? Under the steam, the snow was dyed pink. Her entire body, except for her lips, were red like ripe fruits that were tempting to be picked. Shang Junlin's atoms apple-bobbed, and his eyes became darker and darker. He could clearly feel the changes in his body caused by the young man's movements. He allowed the fire in his heart to spread. The raging fire set the prairie ablaze, burning everything. I will definitely satisfy you. Shang Junlin raised his other hand unhurriedly. The outer robe fell, followed by the inner robe. Throughout the whole process, his eyes were fixed on Shen Yu, as if he wanted to ignite the fire on the young man. Shen Yu did not avoid his gaze. She half leaned on the edge of the bathtub and calmly watched Shang Junlin's performance. Shen Yu slightly moved her eyes away when the last cover was no longer effective. The water surface rippled, and before Shen Yu could react, the man had already sat in the bathtub. The water surface rippled even more, and Shen Yu fluttered and fell into the man's arms. Shang Junlin was a man of his words. He carefully washed every inch of the bathtub, not missing a single spot. Shen Yu gasped for breath, and slightly tightened her grip on the edge of the bathtub. I didn't ask you to bathe like this. The warm water flowed in through the gap, and Shen Yu's fingers suddenly tightened. The white snow was dyed with a layer of more gorgeous color than before. Red plum blossoms bloomed on the snow, and as the water rippled, it was a beautiful sight. Didn't you ask me to help you bathe? Shang Junlin chuckled. I should do my best to satisfy you. Do you like it? I only asked you to do what you should do, not what you shouldn't do. Shan Yu bit the man's shoulder to vent her anger. Shang Junlin's hands didn't stop moving, and Shen Yu soon lost her strength. She softly fell into the man's arms, allowing him to do whatever he wanted. More and more red plum blossoms bloomed on the snow, and the sound of water occasionally mixed with a few sobs, which tugged at the heartstrings. It wasn't good to soak in the water for too long, so Shang Junlin carried the young man out of the bathtub, casually wrapped him in a cloak, and walked to the bed. Bastard! Shan Yu curled up in his arms, and even her voice was trembling. Be good. If you don't prepare in advance, you won't be able to bear it later. Shang Junlin's tone was gentle, but there was a storm in his eyes. He wanted to truly possess this person. Shang Junlin had this idea for more than a day or two. Ordinary contact was no longer enough to satisfy him, and he wanted to possess Shen Yu on a deeper level. Shen Yu lay on the bed on her back, with one arm on her forehead. The crimson color spread down her neck and disappeared into the quilt. Shang Junlin held the quilt above her and looked at her attentively. Shang Junlin gently brushed away the hair on Shen Yu's cheek, and his voice was as mellow as strong wine. I want you. Shen Yu moved her arm away and looked at him without blinking. If I say no, will your Majesty stop? Shang Junlin was silent. The arrow on the bow had to be shot. Obviously, he wouldn't. Shen Yu didn't really want to refuse. When he first acquiesced, he was already prepared to accept Shang Junlin, although Shang Junlin stopped because of him. To be honest, Shen Yu was very surprised at that time, not to mention that Shang Junlin stopped many times later when he frowned. Every time, Shang Junlin only touched him briefly. This kind of tolerance was rare for an emperor. However, Shan Yu also resisted this. He didn't resist Shang Junlin, otherwise, he wouldn't let Shang Junlin mess with him every time. He just felt that he couldn't bear it. Shang Junlin's physical strength was too good. While he was thinking, Shang Junlin had already bent down and kissed him. Soft kisses fell on Shan Yu's forehead, eyes, nose tip, all the way down, and finally sucked on Shan Yu's lips and tasted it carefully. Shan Yu couldn't help but hug him and indulge in this different gentle kiss. Oh! Suddenly, Shan Yu let out a muffled groan. The crimson color faded from his face at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his eyebrows were tightly knitted because of the pain. Shang Junlin's action was without any warning. Shan Yu tightly grasped the thing in his hand. Shang Junlin let go of his lips, and he finally cried out in pain. It was too painful. This was the only feeling Shan Yu had at this moment. Shan Yu was in so much pain that he just wanted to curl up. However, under the man's restraint, he could only be forced to stretch out. Tears seeped out of the corners of his eyes, but they were quickly kissed away by the man. You, I love you. Shang Junlin kissed Shan Yu's ear. His low and deep voice entered Shan Yu's ears. It was extremely gentle, but his actions were firm and irresistible. The storm swept over, and Shan Yu was caught in the center of the storm. Ups and downs. At dawn, the young man's sobbing voice sounded from the tent, "I'm sleepy." A snow-white wrist stretched out of the red tent. Not long after, it was held by another hand and brought back. "Sleep if you're sleepy." The man's voice was full of satisfaction. Shan Yu didn't know when he fell asleep. When he woke up, it was already noon. He moved his body and instantly gasped. There was no place that wasn't screaming in pain. Shan Yu slumped back on the bed. The bed curtain was opened, and a man wearing an emperor's robe came in with a bowl of hot porridge. You're awake?" Shan Yu turned his face away. He didn't want to look at the culprit who made him feel uncomfortable everywhere. Shang Junlin, who was full, didn't mind Shan Yu throwing a tantrum. He put the porridge on the table. Are you hungry?" "No." Shan Yu suddenly closed his mouth. It was hard to imagine that such a hoarse voice came from him. Shang Junlin sat on the bed and carried Shan Yu out. "Drink some water first." The water that was fed to his mouth had a sweet taste. Shan Yu's throat was uncomfortable, and he was thirsty. He drank a cup of water from Shang Junlin's hand. After that, he felt his throat was better. "Your Majesty, you didn't look like you were receiving punishment yesterday. Instead, you looked like you were receiving a reward." Shan Yu looked at him angrily. "I didn't restrain myself." Shang Junlin kissed Shan Yu's forehead. But if he could do it again, he wouldn't be able to restrain himself. "Drink some porridge first." Shang Junlin brought the porridge to his mouth and blew on it to cool it down. Then, he fed it to Shan Yu's mouth. Shan Yu didn't want to move a finger. He was exhausted from the whole night and was indeed hungry. He obediently ate a bowl of porridge and finally recovered some strength. Shan Yu was wearing pajamas. As he moved, the collar of his pajamas opened a little, revealing sporadic mottled marks. Shang Junlin lowered his eyes and hid the thick black color in his eyes. These marks were planted by him last night. He also knew that there were many such marks on the young man's body in places that couldn't be seen. Sensing danger, Shan Yu moved to the side. He didn't want to experience what happened last night again. He was still feeling uncomfortable, especially at a certain part of his body. He couldn't get rid of the strange feeling, but it was at that part. He couldn't ignore it even if he wanted to. Shan Yu's hands and feet were weak. Before he could move much, he was caught by Shang Junlin. Shan Yu's face changed slightly. It was the same last night. He wanted to escape several times, but he was caught by Shang Junlin at the last moment. Then, he had to face a new round of violent storms. Every time, Shang Junlin's strength would be stronger than the previous time. No matter how Shan Yu cried or begged, he couldn't stop for a moment. "Where does you want to go?" Hearing the same words, Shan Yu subconsciously trembled. Chapter 123. Shang Junlin noticed that he seemed to have scared Shen Yu. He coughed softly and hugged the stiff young man. "I'm not such a beast. I won't do anything now." Shen Yu looked at him suspiciously. "Your Majesty, you promised more than once last night that this would be the last time." After he tricked Shen Yu into believing him, he reverted to his old ways. Shang Junlin rubbed his hair. "I really won't do anything. I'm sorry for the torment last night. Then we'll continue next time." Shen Yu glanced at him. Shang Junlin smiled but didn't say anything. Shen Yu was bullied too much last night. The corners of his eyes were still red and his lips were a little swollen. Shang Junlin rubbed his lips and said softly, "I'll apply some medicine for you." After last night, Shang Junlin applied medicine for Shen Yu once. When the medicine was applied, the young man who had fallen into a deep sleep groaned softly due to the pain. Shang Junlin almost turned into a wolf again, but his remaining reason stopped him. This was the first time. Shang Junlin couldn't hold back and did it a little too hard. The area was a little red and swollen. He really couldn't bear any more. Shang Junlin sighed and carefully applied the medicine to the patient. The medicine was specially made by the Imperial Institute of Medicine. It was very effective. "No need." Shen Yu refused without thinking. He sensed his body. Other than a little strange feeling, everything else was fine. He should have applied the medicine once. His body was very fresh and there was nothing that shouldn't be in his body. He remembered that before he fell asleep last night, his body was sticky. It was obvious that Shang Junlin had cleaned him up. Shang Junlin didn't force him. The medicine was very effective. He only needed to apply it once in the morning and once in the morning. Shen Yu's body was sore and weak. This time, it was more serious than before. Shang Junlin didn't want to let go of him. He leaned lazily in Shang Junlin's arms with his eyes slightly closed. He let his thoughts wander aimlessly. "Your Majesty, don't you need to attend to your business?" Seeing that Shang Junlin had no intention of leaving, Shen Yu asked. "Zhan wants to spend more time with you." Shang Junlin rubbed against Shen Yu's cheek. "Zhan also wants you to spend more time with Zhen." Shang Junlin didn't want to be separated from Shen Yu even for a moment after their intimate contact. If it wasn't for Eunuch Meng's dissuasion, he wouldn't even want to go to the morning court. If it wasn't for Eunuch Meng's dissuasion, he would have taken Shen Yu with him. Shen Yu also enjoyed the feeling of snuggling up to Shang Junlin. This was the fastest morning court session that the ministers had ever had. His Majesty seemed to have more important things to do. After dealing with the things that had to be dealt with, he hurriedly dismissed the court session. "If the imperial court hadn't come in time, my little one might have—" The middle-aged man didn't continue, but his companions all knew what he hadn't said. The middle-aged man's wife had passed away while giving birth to his child. He had worked hard to raise his child until he was in his teens, and just when there was hope, a drought had suddenly descended. "Me too. All of you should remember that when I was sick, it was you who brought me food. At the time, I was lying in my room thinking, at least give me something to eat. Being a full ghost is better than being a hungry ghost. When I turned around and saw all of you bringing in porridge, I was given a fright. No wonder you had such a big reaction. At the time, I really thought that I was going to die. The gods heard my prayers and fulfilled my wish before I died." "Gods?" Someone suddenly sneered. "If there really is a God, why hasn't he cared about our lives for so long? If you ask me, no God is more reliable than the imperial court. The food we're eating now is imported from all over the great Huan dynasty. It has nothing to do with the gods." "That's true. Didn't someone come to us and ask us to believe in some god?" "At the time, I already felt that it was unreliable." "It's not that it's unreliable. When something happens, they run faster than anyone else." They didn't know that their conversation had been overheard by the soldiers nearby. Soon, it would spread to the imperial court. Through this method, the imperial court could better understand the situation in Su Bei. They were chatting happily when someone suddenly asked in a low voice, "Why do we still have to work for the government?" Shouldn't they be doing these things? The group suddenly fell silent. Then, someone retorted, "How is it working for the government? Aren't we working for ourselves?" That's right. We're going to live here in the future. Besides, the government has already paid us. But aren't those things given to us by the imperial court? Why do we have to work for them before they're paid? The person continued. I say, do you not understand life? The men of Su Bei were forthright, but they weren't stupid. Some officials had already explained to them why the imperial court had to do this. They also felt that it was better to get paid through their own labor than to eat for free. What's more, they could still receive food every day. Their pay was separated and could be saved up for later use. Although they didn't have to worry about food and water with the imperial court's people here, once they left, wouldn't they still have to rely on themselves? It was a good thing for them to restore Su Bei as soon as possible. That's not right. You're sneaky and you're still saying such things. Are you up to no good? Someone saw that something was wrong and ran to the side of the accompanying official, saying, Darren, a suspicious person was found over there. That person didn't have time to do anything before he was caught red-handed. Similar things happened in other places in Su Bei. Except for a few people who were fanned, most of them were caught before they could do anything. Shan Yu was tired and couldn't sleep, so he lay on Shang Junlin's lap and let Shang Junlin read him the memorial. Darren Fong must have made preparations in advance. Su Bei has been dry for so many days, and the imperial court went there late. It's quite easy for someone to do something, Shan Yu said. Every time Fong Jun went to a place, he would gather the local people and say something to them, explaining the reason for their follow-up actions. After he left, the officials who followed him learned from him and did the same thing. In this way, it won't be so easy to fan the people. Shang Junlin held the memorial in one hand and stroked Shan Yu's hair with the other. When the people that Darren Fong brought back come back, we can investigate whether they can continue to be used. Shan Yu pondered. Although Shang Junlin wanted to suppress the aristocratic families, he didn't completely forbid their existence. The most important thing for a ruler was balance. Whether it was aristocratic families or poor families, it was best to have equal power. I will pay attention to their follow-up performance. Shang Junlin nodded. But people always change. This moment of enlightenment didn't mean eternity. Especially in the officialdom, it was easy to change a person. Shang Junlin didn't need every official to be a saint. That was unrealistic. As long as they could be used by him and bring tangible benefits to the great Huan dynasty, he could turn a blind eye. With the help of the entire country, the situation in Su Bei improved day by day. Although the drought hadn't been relieved yet, the epidemic that the imperial court had been worried about didn't happen. After the natural disaster, the most frightening thing was the epidemic that followed. The imperial court sent a large number of doctors, led by Imperial Physician Wu, to guard against the epidemic every day. Finally, there was no problem that worried them. Shan Yu thought about it carefully and confirmed that there was only a drought in Su Bei in his previous life, and there was no large-scale epidemic. He was slightly relieved. The epidemic that left the deepest impression on him happened a few years later. It was also after that Shang Junlin's reputation took a turn for the worse. There was still a lot of time until now, and the epidemic wasn't completely caused by the natural disaster. If the problem of Fei Meng could be solved in advance, the nightmarish scene in his previous life might not appear again. Young master, the flower sent by Prince and has bloomed. Mu Shi came in with a bowl of boiled medicine. After last night, although Shang Junlin had checked carefully, he was still worried. He asked Imperial Physician Gu to come to Yuzhong Palace to take Shen Yu's pulse. After taking his pulse, Imperial Physician Gu left a new prescription that was mainly used to nourish the body. Shan Yu frowned slightly when he saw the medicine. Shang Junlin found it funny. He put down the booklet in his hand and took the medicine from Mu Shi. When did the flower bloom? When Prince sent the flower, it was just a bud. After so many days, there was no sign of it blooming. Why did it suddenly bloom? Shan Yu was also very curious about this question. Around 9 o'clock last night, Mu Shi replied. Shen Yu didn't know why his heart skipped a beat. This time just happened to be when he and Shang Junlin. Why did the flower bloom at this time? Was it a coincidence? Chapter 124. Shen Yu glanced at Shang Junlin and saw that his expression didn't change. He knew that Shang Junlin didn't think too deeply about this matter. Slowly retracting his gaze, Shen Yu thought to himself, maybe he thought too much. It's just a flower. How could it be related to this kind of thing? Maybe he and Shang Junlin didn't do anything that night, and it would still blossom. Seeing that the two masters didn't have any other orders, Mu Shi left. When Shen Yu and Shang Junlin were alone, they didn't like the palace servants to serve them. The servants of Yuzhong Palace also knew this. Unless the master called them, they wouldn't easily come forward. Shang Junlin stirred the medicine in the bowl and scooped up a spoonful. Just as he was about to feed Shen Yu, his hand was held down by Shen Yu. I'll do it myself. Shen Yu half propped himself up and sat up. No matter how much he tried to improve the taste of the medicine, it wouldn't be very good. Shen Yu didn't want to drink it spoonful by spoonful. You don't want me to feed you? The taste of the medicine is too hard to describe. I want to drink it directly. Looking at Shen Yu's outstretched hand, Shang Junlin put down the spoon and handed the bowl to Shen Yu as he wished. Shen Yu drank the medicine in one gulp. Shang Junlin brought a handkerchief and candied fruit over. Shen Yu leaned over and took the candied fruit from Shang Junlin's hand. His soft lips and skin touched and parted. She was like a noble cat. Shang Junlin's eyes darkened. He put one hand around Shen Yu's waist and pulled him directly into his arms. He lowered his head and kissed Shen Yu. I'll try it. Is it bitter? After the kiss, Shen Yu pressed his forehead against Shang Junlin's and asked. It's sweet. Shang Junlin rubbed against Shen Yu like a big dog. A Yu is sweet everywhere. After drinking the medicine, Shen Yu felt a little sleepy. Shang Junlin was very careful that night, so he didn't suffer any injuries. However, after being tormented for a whole night, it wasn't easy for him to recover his vitality. Otherwise, Imperial Physician Gu wouldn't have given him a new prescription and reminded His Majesty to control himself. Sleep for a while if you're tired. Do you want to go to bed? Shang Junlin touched his face. Shen Yu shook his head. He didn't want to lie in bed all day long. It would remind him of some bad things from his previous life. Shang Junlin didn't force him. In his heart, he didn't want Shen Yu to rest on the bed. Compared to other places, he wanted Shen Yu to lie in a place where he could reach. Shen Yu nestled in the man's arms, found a comfortable position, and slowly closed her eyes. He had a dream again. In the dream, it was a rainy day. He was lying on the bed. His body was heavy, as if something was pressing down on him. He couldn't even lift a hand. Separated by a screen, there were people walking around outside. At the same time, there were also low voices. Shen Yu wanted to hear what they were saying, but he couldn't. Shen Yu seemed to be separated from this world by something. He couldn't see the specific scenery around him, nor could he hear the voices coming from not far away. He was in the middle of it, but he was also drifting away. When he woke up, it was already evening. The afterglow of the setting sun shone through the window. Suddenly, it seemed to overlap with the dream. A pair of warm hands touched his forehead. Yu, do you feel uncomfortable? You're sweating a lot. The man's low voice broke Shen Yu's daze. His drifting thoughts were pulled back to the present world. Shen Yu felt the constant heat from the man's body, and also felt the stickiness of his body. Shen Yu subconsciously rubbed against the man's hand. My clothes are wet. Zhen will take you to wash up. After taking a bath and changing into clean clothes, Shen Yu finally felt less uncomfortable. He hadn't dreamed about his previous life for a long time. He didn't know why he suddenly dreamed about it today. Your Majesty, was it raining just now? No. When Zhen held you just now, you didn't sleep well and sweated a lot. Did you have a nightmare? Shang Junlin took a dry handkerchief and wiped Shan Yu's hair. Shan Yu nodded. It seems so, but I can't remember the details. After waking up, everything in the dream receded like a tide. Shan Yu only remembered the urgency in the dream. He couldn't remember anything else. Zhan will let Imperial Physician Gu take a look. In the middle of the night, Imperial Physician Gu was once again summoned to Yuzhong Palace. Thank you, Imperial Physician Gu. Shan Yu stretched out his hand. For the sake of comfort, Shan Yu was dressed casually. His black hair was just casually draped behind his back. He looked lazy, but people couldn't take their eyes off him. Imperial Physician Gu looked down and focused on taking Shan Yu's pulse. He originally thought that His Majesty summoned him because His Majesty was injured in that incident. After all, he had been summoned not long ago for this reason. After taking Shan Yu's pulse, Imperial Physician Gu realized that he was overthinking. His Majesty's body is fine. After Imperial Physician Gu left, Shang Junlin hugged Shen Yu and buried his face in the back of his neck. He said in a muffled voice, "You, don't leave me." "I won't leave." Shen Yu comforted the suddenly uneasy big dog. Shang Junlin silently hugged the person in his arms tightly. After the incident, Shang Junlin summoned Imperial Physician Gu alone. He mainly asked about Shan Yu's physical condition. Before Shan Yu fully recovered, Shang Junlin couldn't be at ease. Is His Majesty's body really fine? Shang Junlin's body was cold. He looked at Imperial Physician Gu with his dark eyes. Your Majesty, everything I said is true. I dare not hide anything. Imperial Physician Gu, don't let me down. His Majesty is my savior. I will do my best to save him. Your Majesty, please rest assured. Shang Junlin knocked on the armrest of the chair. Then tell me, what's wrong with His Majesty today? From his pulse, His Majesty's body is indeed fine. It's inevitable for normal people to have nightmares. Your Majesty, you don't have to worry too much. What Imperial Physician Gu said was true. Anyone could have nightmares. It wasn't a big deal. Shang Junlin naturally knew this. However, this matter concerned Shan Yu, so he couldn't ignore it. You can get up. Imperial Physician Gu stood up. He hesitated for a moment and said, Your Majesty, His Majesty's body is weak. Please restrain yourself when you do things. Imperial Physician Gu still remembered the first time he came to check on Shen Yu. The young man only had one arm sticking out of the bed curtain. That arm was covered with red marks. Even the gaps between the fingers were covered. It was easy to imagine how serious the other parts of his body were. I know I shouldn't ask about this matter, but His Majesty, I really can't stand your torment. Imperial Physician Gu felt the pressure around him getting lower and lower. He silently swallowed the rest of his words. I know, Shang Junlin's face was a little dark. Write a note for me. Yes, Your Majesty. Shen Yu slept comfortably. The next day he felt much better. However, he still had some trouble walking. Shen Yu didn't want others to see him lose his self-control. He spent almost all day on the soft bed. Fortunately, Shang Junlin knew that he was in the wrong and would massage his sore parts. The disaster in Subei was alleviated. The people who spread the rumors were arrested. However, the person behind the scenes was very calm. Even if many of their strongholds were destroyed, they still didn't reveal anything. Shan Yu lay on Shang Junlin's lap. He played with the man's long hair. Last time, Your Majesty said that you would tell the king of you about the thief. Does he know now? I asked the jailer to accidentally let it slip in front of him. That night, the king of you made a scene in the secret prison. The jailer was so angry that he kindly told the king of you everything related to the king of you's fief, the capital, and the king of you. In fact, if the king of you thought about it carefully, he would find that there were many things wrong with this matter. For example, why would the jailer tell him these things? For example, why would the jailer know these things so clearly? There were many suspicious points. Unfortunately, the king of you was so angry that he couldn't think of these things. In this life, the the king of Yu had no chance to ascend the throne. Whether it was Shen Yu or Shang Junlin, they wouldn't allow him to ascend the throne. Shan Qingran was also trapped in the Marquis Fu. Because of Shan Yu's interference, in this life, the two had very little interaction, let alone develop feelings like in the previous life. Thinking of Shan Qingran, Shan Yu felt that it was very interesting. At the same time, in the previous life, Shan Qingran was trapped in the imperial palace and couldn't enter or leave. In this life, he didn't enter the imperial palace but was still trapped. It was just that the location changed from the imperial palace to the Marquis Fu. He didn't know what Shan Qingran was thinking. Shan Qingran was naturally unwilling. The better Shan Yu's life was, the more unwilling he was. However, he didn't know who ordered the servants in the Marquis Fu to talk about how Shan Guijun was favored outside his courtyard every few days. It was the same today. Shan Qingran was lying on the bed, tossing and turning. Suddenly, he heard the discussion outside the window. It wasn't loud, but it was just enough for him to hear clearly. It was as if they were talking deliberately to let him hear it. Did you see it today? His Majesty rewarded a lot of things. The Marquis was so happy today that he gave us a lot of rewards. Is it also because of Guijun this time? Otherwise, Guijun is the eldest legitimate son of the Marquis Fu. He can't be compared to any cat or dog. Some people relied on the Marquis's favor and jumped around more happily than anyone else. Look at them now, they were beaten back to their original state. A concubine's son is a concubine's son. He only has this little eyesight. Look at Guijun. That's the bearing that a legitimate son should have. Guijun is now favored by His Majesty. Finally, there's a silver lining. His Majesty really dotes on Guijun. I heard that Yuzhong Palace receives rewards every few days. They are all precious things. What His Majesty rewarded to the Marquis Fu is nothing compared to those. It's just a drizzle. Shan Qingran couldn't hear the rest of the words clearly. Jealousy was gnawing at his heart like a poisonous snake. The words of the servants were like needles stabbing at him. Those words circled around his mind, constantly reminding him that how glorious Shen Yu was, he was a failure. He thought that he could always suppress Shen Yu. However, he didn't know when their positions had been completely reversed. Shan Yu was already standing at a height that he could only look up to. He had the emperor's only favor and was favored by thousands of people. Everyone had to lower their heads in front of him. But what about him? Could he only shrink in this small courtyard and spend the rest of his life? The light in Shan Qingran's eyes dimmed. No, he would never allow himself to end up like this. Shen Yu, who was missed by Shan Qingran, was in a tug-of-war with Shang Junlin. Your Majesty, Shen Yu held the quilt and stared at Shang Junlin vigilantly. I really can't. Why didn't you agree? Is it because he doesn't like me? For some reason, Shen Yu felt that Shang Junlin's tone was a little sad. Before he could say anything, Shang Junlin leaned over and pulled him and the quilt together under his body. You obviously liked. Shen Yu raised his hand to cover his mouth. Then, he felt something soft rubbing against his palm. Shen Yu quickly withdrew his hand. Chapter 125. There was a wet feeling in his palm. Shan Yu's fingers curled up slightly in his sleeves. He realized that Shang Junlin liked his hand very much. When he did that, he especially liked to guide his hand to leave marks on his body. Previously, when he was worried about his body and didn't do it to the end, he also liked to let his hand hold him. Some memories uncontrollably emerged in his mind, and Shan Yu's face gradually turned red. Shang Junlin propped himself on top of Shen Yu and saw the changes on his face clearly. He laughed softly and said, "What is you thinking about?" Shen Yu pulled the quilt to cover half of his face and said, "Nothing." He could feel the heat on his face. His face must have turned completely red. It was rare to see Shen Yu like this, so Shang Junlin didn't want to miss it. He propped his elbow on the side of Shen Yu's face, lowered his body, and pulled down the quilt covering Shen Yu's face with one hand. His face was almost touching Shan Yu's face, and he said, "Why are you blushing if you aren't thinking about anything? Is you shy?" "No." Shan Yu refused to admit it. Without the quilt covering his face, Shang Junlin could clearly see every change in Shen Yu. He saw that Shan Yu's eyes flashed when he said this, and he couldn't help but glance to the side. He knew that Shan Yu was being stubborn. The shy Yu was even more delicious. Shang Junlin opened his mouth and gently bit on Shen Yu's blushing face. Shen Yu suddenly opened his eyes and felt a wet feeling from the place where he was bitten. "Your Majesty, you, call my name," Shang Junlin whispered. "Lin." Shen Yu called out tentatively and found that the man was even more excited. He could feel it through the quilt. Shen Yu silently moved to the side. Shang Junlin was unwilling to let go of him so easily. He pulled him back together with the quilt. "Let me look at you." Shang Junlin's voice was low and hoarse, with a desire to control himself. Shan Yu had heard this man say, "Hug me tightly," in her ear countless times when she was at the peak. Not only his face, but Shan Yu also felt that his body was starting to heat up. Shang Junlin slowly peeled Shen Yu out of the quilt. The young man was only wearing a white nightgown. His long hair was gently draped over his back. His hair was black, and his skin was snow-white. The light pink color spread out on his snow-white skin. Under the soft candlelight, he looked even more beautiful. Shang Junlin's eyes became darker and darker. Now, Shan Yu was like a budding flower, waiting for the final rain to completely unfold. Shang Junlin had seen this flower in full bloom before. That was the result of his hard work. His watering made this flower bloom little by little, and also made this flower stained with his own imprint, from the inside out. The man's gaze was like a fire that could easily ignite everything. Shen Yu felt a little thirsty and unconsciously licked his lips. He saw with his own eyes that because of this action, Shang Junlin's gaze became dangerous. Shen Yu really wanted to continue covering himself with the quilt, but Shang Junlin would not give him the chance. The man lowered his head and kissed Shen Yu's watery lips. Sucking, grinding, dancing. There were still traces on Shen Yu's body, which were left by Shang Junlin last time. Soon, new traces covered the old ones one by one. On the white snow, the red plum blossoms slowly bloomed. The half-open flower was forced to unfold, and it was dyed with another kind of scent from the inside out. Shang Junlin was very gentle this time. After Shan Yu fell into a deep sleep, he was not woken up by him. This time, Shan Yu slept very deeply and was not disturbed by nightmares. It would have been better if he did not wake up with some kind of sore feeling in the morning. The sky was not yet bright, and the man's scent was still wrapped around him. This was a rare morning when Shan Yu woke up and Shang Junlin had not yet woken up. The man who had not yet woken up hugged him and gently rubbed against him. Shan Yu bit his lower lip to prevent himself from making a sound. Joy and suffering alternated, and every moment became extremely difficult to bear. Fortunately, Shang Junlin woke up soon. You? Get out." Shan Yu gritted his teeth. He was so angry that he even forgot about Shang Junlin's identity. Shang Junlin was silent. Obviously, he did not expect to encounter such a big impact when he woke up. Shang Junlin hugged the young man in his arms and did the opposite of what Shan Yu wanted. Bastard. When the two of them woke up, it was already 2 hours later. Shang Junlin carried Shan Yu to wash his body, put on clean clothes for him, and carried him to the soft bed. The palace servants lowered their heads to clean up the room. Shan Yu lay on the soft bed weakly with his eyes slightly closed. He did not even have the strength to scold people now. On the other hand, Shang Junlin was full of energy and could not hide the fatigue on his face. Shan Yu simply closed his eyes. Out of sight, out of mind. Shang Junlin did not go to the morning court today. When it was almost time for the morning court, Eunuch Meng stood outside the door and listened to the muffled sounds coming from the room. He did not know whether to open his mouth or not. Of course, he knew what such sounds meant, but he did not expect to hear it at this time. Listening to the faint sounds coming from inside, he was afraid that it would not end in a short time. Eunuch Meng looked at the closed door of the bedchamber awkwardly. Seeing that there was not enough time, Eunuch Meng gritted his teeth and knocked on the door. "Your Majesty, it's almost time for the morning court." The sounds inside stopped for a moment, but only for a moment. Eunuch Meng wiped his face, knowing that this was the answer from His Majesty. Therefore, on this day, the ministers who came to the morning court on time waited for more than 2 hours before they waited for the late emperor. The ministers looked at Shang Junlin with a frosty face and looked at each other. What happened? He looked like a husband who was chased out of his room by his wife. They did not know that Shang Junlin was chased out by Shen Yu, who was angered by him early in the morning. Otherwise, today's morning court would have been cancelled. Because Shang Junlin was in a bad mood, the ministers also waited for a long time. They did not dare to provoke him, so they finished the morning court very efficiently. The morning court ended at about the same time as usual. When they walked out of the main hall, the ministers breathed a sigh of relief. What happened today? Not only is His Majesty late for more than 2 hours, but he is also in such a bad mood? A few of the ministers who had a good relationship with him gathered together and whispered, "I'm not sure. Hasn't His Majesty been in a good mood these days? Last time, I made a mistake and thought I would be punished by His Majesty. I didn't expect His Majesty to let it go so easily." The situation in Subei has been very stable, and nothing major happened in the imperial court. What happened to His Majesty today? It can't be that he made His Majesty unhappy, right? A minister joked. Why is it that he made His Majesty unhappy and not the other way around? Another minister was puzzled. Zhang Huiqing followed behind the Prime Minister. When he heard this, he was a little worried. He gently pulled He Chengyu's sleeve. He Chengyu moved closer to him and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong? Did His Majesty really have a conflict with His Majesty today?" Afraid that others would hear, Zhang Huiqing lowered his voice. "Will His Majesty really be angry with His Majesty?" He Chengyu was a little amused. "Why are you worried about this?" "Don't worry, His Majesty won't be angry with His Majesty." "Why?" Zhang Huiqing was puzzled. He Chengyu's fingers moved slightly. He wanted to rub Zhang Huiqing's hair, but he had to give up on the idea because there were too many people around. Look at His Majesty and His Majesty's interactions outside the palace. Do you think His Majesty will be angry with His Majesty? His Majesty will be angry with anyone but His Majesty. Zhang Huiqing recalled the few times he had interacted with the two outside the palace. He had to admit that He Chengyu was right. The ministers all guessed that something big was about to happen, but they didn't know that they were getting farther and farther away from the truth. In a certain courtyard. "Sir, did we just take over the imperial court and destroy our stronghold?" "That's... You think I don't know?" The man called Sir was hidden in the darkness. "You think I want to see this result?" This subordinate knows his mistake. The speaker knelt down and admitted his mistake. What's the situation in Subei? The supplies sent by the imperial court were directly sent to various small places. They didn't pass through the main city of Subei. Moreover, they were escorted by the army from beginning to end. We didn't know where to start. What about the people who asked you to fan the flames in Subei? The man's voice was filled with unconcealable anger. "Sir," the subordinate swallowed his saliva. "Apart from a few places, the rest failed. Even those few places were quickly suppressed. Useless." The man was so angry that he smashed the things on the desk. "What did you do? Not only did they fail to accomplish anything, they even lost all of their manpower? Didn't you say that the imperial court was transferring supplies to the people? It was such a good opportunity to fan the people. Why couldn't you do such a small thing?" "Sir, we're innocent. This matter seems to be different from what we thought. Those people not only didn't complain about the imperial court, but also defended." Defended? The man was puzzled. Shouldn't the imperial court have angered the people by doing such a thing? "Sir, we've been deceived. Those supplies weren't forcibly conscripted at all. They were voluntarily given by the people." The fear in the subordinate's heart grew stronger. Not only the ordinary people, but also the vassals, aristocratic families, merchants. They all donated voluntarily. When the subordinates figured out this matter, they realized how wrong they were. Their plan was doomed to fail from the very beginning. So that's how it is. The man smiled darkly. No wonder it didn't succeed even once. It turns out that they already knew that we would make a move. Sir, what should we do next? Don't worry about those people and strongholds. Do it cleanly. Don't let the imperial court find more important things. The matter in Subei is about to end. Shang Junlin, oh Shang Junlin, what's the use of sending so many things to Subei? In the end, aren't you just going to benefit me? Ha ha ha. The two people in the room didn't notice that the corner of a black robe flashed across the roof, almost blending into the night. The matter in Subei had reached a critical period. When Shang Junlin returned to Yuzhong Palace after discussing the follow-up matters with the Prime Minister and other important ministers in the imperial study, it was already dark. What is Gue Jun doing? The first thing Shang Junlin asked after entering the door was Xinyu. Is he uncomfortable today? She shook her head. Gue Jun slept a little more during the day. He's now in the small study. Shang Junlin turned around and walked towards the small study. Shan Yu was writing something. Under the candlelight, the young man's body was covered with a layer of halo. Shang Junlin raised his hand to signal the palace servants not to follow and walked in alone. Why isn't you resting on the soft couch? Shang Junlin habitually walked over and wanted to hug Shen Yu. The young man quietly avoided him. Shan Yu was sitting on a chair with a soft cushion. After sitting for a short while, Shan Yu couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up with the note he had just written. Your Majesty, let's agree on 3 points. Shang Junlin took the note from Shan Yu and was silent after reading it. It was a bit difficult for a person who had just experienced sex to abstain from sex. With a you in my arms, it's hard for me not to be moved. Shan Yu narrowed his eyes. Your Majesty can go back to your own palace or stay in the small study. Chapter 126. Shang Junlin didn't want to choose either of them. It wasn't easy for him to get her. He didn't want to be separated from her for even a moment, let alone at night. He was already used to hugging his soft and fragrant lover to sleep. Now that the two of them had a physical relationship, he only wanted to stick to her even more. I don't want to move away, and I don't want to sleep in the small study room. You and I are husband and husband, so we should sleep together. Shang Junlin wouldn't leave no matter what. Shen Yu wasn't surprised by this result. He raised his eyebrows. If you want to stay, it's possible. But can your Majesty guarantee that you will do what I wrote? Shang Junlin stepped forward and picked him up under the young man's stunned gaze. It's late, I'll take you to rest. He avoided answering Shan Yu's question. Shan Yu subconsciously grabbed the man's clothes when his body was suddenly suspended in the air. He leaned on the man's shoulder and didn't intend to easily change the topic. Your Majesty hasn't answered my question yet. Shang Junlin lowered his head and met Shan Yu's teasing gaze. He carried Shen Yu and walked out, discussing while walking, doesn't you think that 10 days is too long? I don't think so. If it wasn't for your Majesty, I think 1 month is quite good. Shan Yu shook his head. Eunuch Meng and the palace servants followed behind the two from a distance, so they couldn't hear their conversation clearly. I want to be closer to you. Doesn't you want to be closer to me? Shang Junlin didn't want to give up so easily. I did my homework in advance. You should be very comfortable. Shen Yu didn't deny this point. It was comfortable, but it was also really tiring. Especially the next day, his legs almost didn't belong to him, and it was difficult for him to get out of bed. Has your Majesty found someone to test it? Shen Yu narrowed his eyes slightly. The tone of this sentence seemed normal, but Shang Junlin could hear the coldness in it. He didn't stop walking, but there was a smile in his voice. Zhen spends all day with you. Shouldn't you be very clear about whether or not I've tried it on someone? There are times when we are not together. Shen Yu snorted. That's for the morning court or discussions with the ministers in the imperial study. I also want to bring a you there. If a you is worried, why don't you follow me around all the time? Shang Junlin felt that this was a good suggestion and wished that Shan Yu would agree immediately. No, I believe in your majesty. Shan Yu didn't even want to think about it and refused. His words were more of a joke, and he didn't really suspect Shang Junlin. I won't find someone else to test it on. Other than a you, I won't do this kind of thing with anyone else. Shang Junlin lowered his head and kissed Shen Yu. You can only do it with me. As for a you's curiosity, Shang Junlin lowered his voice and whispered a few words in Shen Yu's ear. He successfully saw the youth's earlobes turn red. I know. Your Majesty, you don't need to say any more. Shan Yu repeatedly interrupted him, and his face became hotter and hotter. Shang Junlin stopped as Shen Yu wished. After a moment, he continued, everything needs to be practiced diligently. The more skilled you are, the easier it will be to do it. You should also practice more with me. In the future, you won't be so unbearable. Shan Yu couldn't believe that these words were said by Shang Junlin in a deadpan manner. Feeling Shen Yu's incredulous gaze, Shang Junlin's lips curled up. You said, isn't that right? Your Majesty is really... His understanding was refreshed once again. The small study room was not far from the bedchamber. It didn't take long for them to arrive. The palace maids gently opened the door. Shang Junlin carried Shen Yu and walked in. You don't need to follow me. Eunuch Meng stopped and stood guard outside the door with the palace maids. Shang Junlin put the youth on the bed and bent down. 10 days is too long. You, do you have the heart to make me endure for so long? Shang Junlin was addicted to the taste. If it wasn't for cough, he wouldn't have refused to be separated from her for an entire night and even angered her in the morning. Shan Yu was held under the man's body. When she raised her eyes, she could see the man's handsome face and his eyes that only had her in them. Shang Junlin's eyes were the standard red phoenix eyes. His eyes were long and narrow, and his dark pupils were bottomless. It was like an abyss that chose people to devour. Shan Yu tilted her head. Her heart was shaken for a moment. You? Stop, Shen Yu put her finger on Shang Junlin's lips. We can talk about the future. This time, it will take at least 10 days. If your Majesty says one more word, it will be one more day. Shang Junlin didn't dare to continue. Okay, I'm going to sleep. Shen Yu glanced at Shang Junlin's body. Your Majesty, please take care of yourself. If there is a next time, your Majesty can go to the small study room by yourself. Shang Junlin made a fuss in the morning. Naturally, he didn't dare to do anything now. After washing up, he came back and took the sleeping youth into his arms. The youth spontaneously found a more comfortable position and fell into a deeper sleep. It was just that Shang Junlin had suffered. His sweetheart was in his arms, and he was sleeping without any precautions. However, he couldn't do anything. On the other hand, Shan Yu had a good sleep. After resting for a few days, Shan Yu's body had almost recovered. During these few days, Shang Junlin kept his promise. Except for the occasional kiss and hug, he didn't cross the line at all. Shan Yu was like a frog in warm water for a few days. Later, Shang Junlin occasionally crossed the line and did something. As long as it wasn't too excessive, Shan Yu let him do whatever he wanted. After a sticky kiss, under Shan Yu's angry gaze, Shang Junlin took his hand out of her lapel. A trace of regret flashed in his eyes. After tidying up his lapel, Shang Junlin took the initiative to talk about Su Bei to divert Shan Yu's attention. Feng Jun has already met with Sun Zhao. The hidden dragon guards have also found enough evidence to get rid of these people once and for all. So, official Feng is about to complete his mission? Shan Yu's attention was indeed diverted. He no longer cared about what Shang Junlin had done just now. Official Feng was sent to Su Bei. Disaster relief was only one of his missions. More importantly, he had to find out what exactly had happened in Su Bei and solve it. Only a few people knew about this. Even the officials in the imperial court didn't know much about it. It should be in the next few days. Do you have any clues about the person behind the rumors, Your Majesty? Yes, it's just a coincidence. That person happened to be in contact with Subei and was caught by the hidden dragon guards. Feng Jun will get rid of him as well. Subei Main City. Under the cover of the hidden dragon guards, Sun Zhao disguised himself as an inconspicuous servant and sneaked out of the residence in the middle of the night. Everything was silent. Only the sound of his own footsteps could be heard. Sun Zhao walked through the alley with ease. He arrived at the entrance of an inconspicuous pub and walked in. Official Feng had been staying here for a while. Official Feng was injured and half lying on the bed. The situation was urgent. If not for the hidden dragon guards protecting him, the long sword would have pierced his heart instead of his shoulder. Are you feeling better, official? Sun Zhao walked in. He only knew that Official Feng was injured when he came looking for him. It was obvious who the assassin was. I'm fine. How's the situation outside? Official Feng forced himself to sit up. His face was even paler. Everything is as you expected. Are you sure you don't want to rest for a few more days? Sun Zhao looked worried. I'm fine. This matter can't be delayed. It's not easy to have such a good opportunity. I can't delay it. The spy in the Subei army has been caught. Fortunately, we found out in time. They didn't have deep roots. It was fortunate that there were no major problems within the Subei army. If there were problems within the Subei army, this matter would be very troublesome. While Feng Jun was taking action, the hidden dragon guards had also infiltrated the Subei army. They tracked down the remaining spies through one of the Subei army's spies. Feng Jun then contacted the higher-ups of the Subei army and secretly captured the spies. The interrogation was also handed over to the Subei army. After the interrogation, the Subei army reported the information to Feng Jun. Then, through the hidden dragon guards, Feng Jun targeted a few of the officials. It was also at this time that Feng Jun was attacked. The assassin wanted to kill Feng Jun but was stopped by the hidden dragon guards who were secretly protecting Feng Jun. Seeing that he couldn't escape, he killed himself and didn't leave any clues. Feng Jun had been assassinated more than once. He knew that the officials in the Subei army had probably sensed something and didn't want him to leave the Subei army alive. So, they took advantage of this assassination to hide in the dark. The hidden dragon guards had been hiding in the dark. After entering the Subei army, they didn't appear in the outside world. The officials in the Subei army didn't realize that the Emperor's spies and claws had already infiltrated the Subei army. They were still feeling smug, thinking that they had solved a big problem. The official sent by the imperial court, Feng Jun, hasn't appeared in a long time? An official asked at the banquet. Isn't it normal for someone to disappear after doing something they shouldn't have? Another person answered with a wine cup in his hand. Everyone sitting there was dressed in brocade clothes. The dishes on the table were not inferior to palace banquets. There were fine wine and delicacies, and dancers to liven things up. It was a joyous occasion. This was a banquet that only the upper echelons of the Subei army had the right to enjoy. Being able to participate was equivalent to being treated as one's own. After so many years of development, the Subei army had long become a place where the emperor was far away. If one wanted to climb up the ranks and obtain a higher official position, the only way was to join them. As for the officials sent by the imperial court, they either colluded with them or met with accidents. In the Subei army, were they not the ones who had the final say in everything? These people were used to having things go smoothly and thought that everything was under their control. But they didn't know that the guillotine was already hanging over their heads. Sun Zhao sat in the second row. All these years, he had kept a low profile and didn't have any big conflicts with these local officials. He held his wine cup and lowered his eyes to take a sip. He didn't need to look to know who was sitting there. It's all thanks to Lord Sun that we were able to solve such a big problem this time. Come, let this official toast to you. Sun Zhao raised his wine cup and raised it. It's my duty. In order to infiltrate their inner circle, Sun Zhao had done many things against his will over the years. In the last assassination attempt on Fong Jun, he had also participated in it. But before the incident, he had told Fong Jun through the hidden dragon guard. Fong Jun had asked the other party to tell him 4 words: beat them at their own game. That was why Fong Jun was seriously injured. And under his deliberate actions, these people all thought that the assassination attempt was a success. Thus, there was this celebratory banquet, and the perfect opportunity to catch all of them in one fell swoop. Toasts were exchanged, songs and dances were sung, and the strong wine was spicy. Just by looking at this place, who would have thought that the Subei army was experiencing a natural disaster? Actually, the most unexpected thing was that Lord Sun would help us. If we didn't have a clear understanding of the movements in the capital, we wouldn't have known that Fong Jun had such a motive, said the person sitting at the head of the table. Are you all talking about this official? A slightly amused voice sounded, and the hall immediately fell silent. Chapter 127. The voices stopped. The officials in the hall looked in the direction of the voice, their faces filled with disbelief. A man in a dark red official's robe leisurely strolled in. Every step he took was like walking on the tip of their hearts. Wasn't it said that Fong Jun was dead? Then what had appeared in front of them today? A person or a ghost? Just what had happened? Questions popped up in their minds, but no one answered them. Some people even cautiously looked down. When they saw Fong Jun's shadow, they breathed a sigh of relief. It was better to be a person than a ghost. You all don't seem to welcome this official? Fong Jun restrained the smile on his face. He didn't show any anger. How could that be? The first official to react forced a smile. We just didn't expect Lord Fong to suddenly come. That's right. Fong Jun nodded in agreement, but his next words made everyone's heart sink. How could a dead person suddenly appear at your celebration banquet? Lord Fong, what are you saying? How could we? Fong Jun waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to say more. He walked in like he was strolling through his own garden. You all are living very comfortably here. If this official hadn't come all the way here and truly felt that Subei was suffering from a drought, I would have suspected that someone deliberately leaked the news. Could it be that the imperial court didn't receive news of the drought in Subei because none of the officials felt that there was a natural disaster in Subei? With each sentence that Lord Fong spoke, the faces of the people present grew uglier. They were all from Subei, so how could they not be aware of the situation there? They were just hoping for a fluke and wanted to stall for time so that the news wouldn't reach the imperial court. They had already delayed for so long, so they didn't care if they delayed for a few more days. In any case, they weren't the ones who were starving. Fong Jun didn't need to ask to know what they were thinking. He also didn't intend to argue with them. They had done something they shouldn't have done, and how much damage they had caused. Every debt would be settled by the imperial court. Food can be eaten carelessly, but words can't be spoken carelessly. Does Lord Fong know what you're saying? The person sitting at the head of the table stood up, displeased. There was a faint sense of unease in his heart, but he couldn't show it. Moreover, he had spies all over Subei. If something really was going to happen, he shouldn't have not heard the slightest bit of it. At this moment, he subconsciously ignored Fong Jun's sudden appearance. He didn't get the news in advance. Lord Ho, are you angry because your thoughts have been exposed? I didn't understand it before, but I do now. If this is what we see every day, it's no wonder we can't see that the outside world is already filled with starving people. Don't you think so, Lord Ho? Lord Fong stood below and looked straight at Lord Ho. There was a fire in his eyes. It was anger. Although Fong Jun did not show it on his face, he was really angry at the moment, especially after seeing this scene. Even His Majesty, who was most qualified to enjoy these luxurious pleasures, had not done so. How dare these people? As if burned by the fiery light in Fong Jun's eyes, Lord Ho averted his gaze, not daring to meet it. Lord Fong must be joking. This official lives in Subei, so how could I turn a blind eye to the disaster in Subei? Today's banquet was only held because I saw that the situation in Su Bei had improved. I wanted to let my tense subordinates relax a little. Is that so? Lord Fong suddenly smiled. Is it really not to get rid of this official, this rock in the way? Lord Ho didn't expect Fong Jun to be so direct. His expression changed again and again. He looked towards the corner of the hall and made a gesture with his hand hanging by his side. No matter how Fong Jun escaped, since he dared to come here alone, he shouldn't blame him for using his own blood to liven things up. But Lord Ho waited for a long time. The hall was still quiet. The singing and dancing had stopped long ago, and the people he had arranged didn't move either. What was going on? Lord Ho panicked. He walked over to Fong Jun and asked sternly, "What did you do?" At this moment, his nerves that had been numbed by alcohol finally recovered some of their sobriety. He thought of more things that didn't seem right. For example, he had arranged for people to wait outside. Why didn't Fong Jun notify him when he came in? For example, Fong Jun was clearly a dead person. How could he appear here so openly? Before this, he hadn't heard any news at all. Shouldn't this official be asking you this? Fong Jun's face was cold. Lord Ho, what did you do? Did His Majesty give Su Bei to you to let you watch the people starve to death? So you didn't die. Lord Ho laughed heartily. But what can you do by coming here alone? Being scolded won't hurt me at all. On the other hand, Lord Fong, you've walked right into my trap. I'd like to see how you're going to escape this time. Come, this person is pretending to be an official of the imperial court. Arrest him. Lord Ho tried to sound fierce. There's no need to struggle, Lord Ho. Sun Zhao straightened his clothes and stood up. Lord Ho, there's no need to deceive yourself. No matter how you shout, the people you arranged to protect you won't appear. You also lied to this official. Lord Ho's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. This official thinks that I've treated you well. Why did you do this? That's right, my lord has treated me well, but I'm first and foremost a citizen of the Great Huan Kingdom, and second, I'm your subordinate. Oh, that's not right. I'm an official of the Great Huan Kingdom. My lord should wake up. Su Bei belongs to the Great Huan Kingdom, and not your personal property. This official was saying that the news of Su Bei's drought wasn't allowed to spread outside. So it was you. You were the one who reported the news to the imperial court? Sun Zhao didn't deny it. The other officials had long been confused by this scene. They looked at the three of them in confusion. This official should have known that you were left behind by that person. How could you be on the same side as Su Bei? Lord Ho muttered. Lord Ho, you're wrong. This official has always been on the same side as Su Bei. It's just that Lord Ho's heart is biased. Sun Zhao retorted mercilessly. Orderly footsteps sounded. There was a commotion outside. Sun Zhao and Fong Jun looked at each other. The Su Bei army had arrived. Fong Jun did not travel with the Northern Su army. He had arrived earlier and brought a few hidden dragon guards with him. The hidden dragon guards had quietly taken care of the people outside while he entered the main hall alone. If there were any changes, he would inform the hidden dragon guards hiding outside and ask the Northern Su army to change their plans. If the plan went according to plan, the Northern Su army would arrive within an hour. As soon as he entered the main hall, he observed the situation inside. Then, according to the plan, he informed the hidden dragon guards outside. When the Su Bei army broke into the main hall, Lord Ho's expression changed completely. When did you contact the Su Bei army? The existence of the Su Bei army had always been a thorn in Lord Ho's heart. If such a powerful force could be used by him, no one would be unhappy. However, if this force couldn't be used by him, what would happen? It would be like a fishbone stuck in his throat. The existence of the Su Bei army constantly reminded him that he could never be the true master of the Su Bei army. How could he, who had long regarded the Su Bei army as his own, tolerate this? Over the years, he had spent a lot of effort to plant his own men in the Su Bei army. Until now, it was somewhat effective. Why didn't he inform the imperial court about the drought in the Su Bei army? He just wanted to buy time and use this opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of the Su-Bei army. Once the Su-Bei army was under his command, he would naturally ask the imperial court for help. After all, it was a large sum of money and resources. How could he let go of something that was delivered to him for free? Lord Ho doesn't need to worry about this. Lord Feng nodded to the leader of the Su-Bei army. Take them all away. These people were locked up in the government office that they had previously occupied. However, this time, they were living in a dark and damp prison. Feng Jun finished dealing with everything. Just as he was about to say something, his vision suddenly turned black and he fell forward. Lord Feng. Sun Zhao instinctively wanted to catch him, but the two of them were not close enough. By the time he reacted, it was already too late. Fortunately, the general of the Su-Bei army, who had been discussing the matter with him, reacted quickly and caught him, preventing him from falling to the ground. Quick, call Imperial Physician Wu over. Sun Zhao ordered a servant to bring him over. He smiled wryly and cupped his hands to the general of the Su-Bei army. Thank you, General Wei. I will have to trouble you with the following matters. Lord Feng, this is. Lord Feng was originally injured. This time, he forced himself to carry out the operation. At the time, in order to avoid being discovered by Lord Ho's men, he didn't dare to call for a doctor. He only treated him carelessly. Fortunately, Imperial Physician Wu happened to be in the main city these 2 days. It didn't take long for him to arrive at the government office. After treating Lord Feng's wound and bandaging it, Imperial Physician Wu washed his hands. Fortunately, Lord Feng's foundation is good. I will give him a prescription. He will recover in a few days. Sun Zhao, who was standing guard at the side, breathed a sigh of relief. He was also involved in the assassination plan. If something really happened to Lord Feng, he would feel uneasy. This time, the memorial was sent to Shang Junlin as quickly as possible. Along with it, the Su-Bei army and Sun Zhao wrote a separate report. It was also at this time that Shen Yu and Shang Junlin found out that Feng Jun was injured. The memorial was sent to Shang Junlin in the form of a secret letter. The imperial court would receive the official news a little later. Without Lord Ho and the other officials interfering, the memorial to the Su-Bei army could be sent to the imperial court. Fortunately, Your Majesty sent the hidden dragon guards to secretly protect Lord Feng. Including this time, Lord Feng has been assassinated no less than 5 times. Those people are really unwilling to give up. Shen Yu sighed. Feng Jun is a threat to them. Naturally, they won't let him go easily. The hidden dragon guards also found out many secrets. These years, the officials who died for no reason in the Su-Bei army were more or less related to them. Shang Junlin's voice was slightly cold. Your Majesty, how do you plan to deal with these people? Are you going to bring them back or deal with them directly in the Su-Bei army? This time, many officials were arrested and involved a lot of things. If they were to be brought back to the capital, it would be too easy for there to be unforeseen events. I don't plan to bring them back. Let them stay in the Su-Bei army to comfort the souls of those who died because of them. That's good too. Their crimes should be announced to the entire Dahuan. What about the person who spread the rumors? Does Your Majesty know who it is? We'll know soon. The bait had been thrown. They were just waiting for the big fish to bite. When does Your Majesty plan to deal with those people in the Su-Bei army? Shen Yu leaned on Shang Junlin and moved. What do you think? Shang Junlin raised his hand and touched Shen Yu's face. Your Majesty, let's set the time 10 days later. At least the first person to be executed will be on that day. In fact, this time was a little rushed. However, Shang Junlin didn't ask much and only replied, Okay. Your Majesty, aren't you going to ask me why I want to set the date? Shen Yu turned around and looked at Shang Junlin with burning eyes. Chapter 128. Shang Junlin stared deeply at Shen Yu for a while, his eyes seeming as if he wanted to see into Shan Yu's heart. It was as if nothing could be hidden, as if the secrets that had been hidden for so long were about to be exposed to the light of day. Shan Yu couldn't help but feel a little nervous, his fingers slightly curling at his sides. In the end, Shang Junlin only raised his hand to stroke the hair on his temples. "Wait until a Yu is willing to speak, then tell us." Shang Junlin knew better than anyone that Shan Yu hid countless secrets. Not delving into it didn't mean that he didn't care. He just didn't want to force Shan Yu to do anything. He was willing to wait for the day when Shan Yu would open his heart and tell him everything. Shan Yu gently leaned against Shang Junlin and whispered, "Actually, I can't say for sure. It might rain in 10 days. It's just a matter of time. It can happen any time." Su Bei really should give the people an explanation as soon as possible. The mass imprisonment of the high-ranking officials caused quite a stir in Su Bei. The people were confused and gathered together to discuss the matter. What's going on? Why were Lord Ho and the others suddenly arrested? Wasn't Lord Fong sent by the imperial court to provide disaster relief? Why did he arrest the other officials? It had to be said that Lord Ho and the others had done a good job on the surface. At the very least, the people of Su Bei were willing to speak up for them. But in other places, the people unconditionally trusted Lord Fong. "Have you heard? The high-ranking officials of the main city have all been arrested by Lord Fong." "I heard." "Sure enough, the heavenly Tao reincarnates. They used the disaster relief funds to expand their private coffers. Sooner or later, they will pay the price. No wonder we haven't seen Lord Fong in this period of time. It turns out that he went to the main city to deal with the officials who pocketed money." "I also heard a small piece of news. I don't know if it's true or not, but it said that at the beginning, there were officials who reported our situation to the imperial court. But for some reason, this report wasn't sent to the capital. We waited for a long time for the imperial court's people to arrive. It turns out that it's because someone is interfering and doesn't want the imperial court to help us." "I don't understand. Doing this won't benefit Su Bei at all. Look at how many people have died in this period of time. If the people of the imperial court hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid there would have been even more casualties." "Are you stupid? Think about it. If the imperial court doesn't send anyone over, wouldn't the ones who save us be the high-ranking officials in the main city? At that time, those people only need to say that the imperial court deliberately ignored us to incite our dissatisfaction with the imperial court. From there, we'll be grateful to the culprit who caused all this." After listening to the analysis, the others came to a sudden realization and cursed. "This dog official is really inhumane. Well done. You want us to be grateful to them? Dream on." Fortunately, the lords sent by the imperial court saw through their scheme. In just a few days, the news had spread to every part of Su Bei. The people in the main city also understood the ins and outs of the matter from the explanations of the people sent by Lord Fong. They had always known that the drought in Su Bei was very serious, but the main city had relief every day, so it wasn't as if they couldn't get by. Everything in the city was stable, so their perception wasn't so clear. It was only now that the blindfolds over their eyes had been removed that they could see just how serious the situation in Su Bei was. It turned out that the stability they had thought of was a man-made illusion. They would secretly send the sick out of the main city and casually throw them somewhere, telling the people in the city that they were being brought to a centralized place for treatment. At the same time, they would seal the city gates, forbidding the people inside from leaving and the people outside from entering. As the news didn't spread, the people in the city never noticed that something was wrong. At the end of his speech, Sun Chao's tone was filled with uncontrollable anger. "I don't know about any of this. They must have sent their trusted aides to do this. Those people who were sent out of the main city probably didn't have much luck. Not only was there no one to take care of them when they were sick, they were also left in the wilderness without medicine or food. One could easily imagine their fate. No matter what, send people to look for them. Save as many as you can," Lord Fong ordered, even though he knew that the chances of those people surviving were very small. Under Lord Fong's command, Su Bei's main city operated in an orderly manner. Lord Fong learned about Shan Yu's actions in the capital from the people who came from the capital. He knew that he couldn't let anyone take advantage of the loopholes and stir up conflict between the people of Su Bei. Thus, he sent people to blend in with the people and guide them to see the truth of the matter. Lord, what did the imperial court say? Should we detain those people back to the capital? Sun Zhao asked. There were quite a lot of people arrested this time. If they were to detain all of them back to the capital, they would have to spend a lot of effort and manpower considering the possible situations that might arise along the way. His Majesty said that we can deal with them directly in Su Bei. He also set a date for us to execute these people before that day. Hearing the date mentioned by Lord Fong, Sun Zhao was surprised. Why is it so rushed? Don't worry about what His Majesty thinks. Go make the arrangements. Lord Fong patted him on the shoulder. Fortunately, they had already collected all the evidence. After receiving the order, the evidence was released one by one. It was also at this time that the people of Su Bei's main city realized for the first time that the officials they trusted had committed countless crimes. So, my sick father wasn't actually sent for treatment, but directly thrown out of the main city? The moment he heard the news, the young man covered his face and knelt on the ground. He would never be able to forgive himself for pushing his father to his death. He wasn't the only one who was devastated. I was wondering why we weren't allowed to visit him. It turns out that it's because he's long gone. How can we visit him without him? And I was so stupid to believe it. These dog officials, I'm going to kill them. The people who were stimulated by the sudden bad news were filled with regret and hatred. After all, no one could accept the fact that they had personally pushed their loved ones to their deaths. Fong Jun and Sun Zhao watched this scene from afar. On the day of the execution, let them come and watch the execution. Call more people to stand guard. The hatred in their hearts had to be vented. The evidence of their crimes was also handed over to the imperial palace. During the morning court session, the Prime Minister announced the news from Su Bei one by one. Upon hearing this, the hall was instantly thrown into chaos. That batch of supplies was actually stolen by the officials of Su Bei. They hid it and refused to report it only because they wanted to control the Su Bei army. The people can't even fill their stomachs, yet they're still in the mood to drink and make merry, completely ignoring the disaster. These people are simply unworthy of being officials. Lying about taxes, oppressing the people, colluding with bandits, robbing passers-by of their wealth, intercepting and killing fleeing citizens. Each and every one of these things that were placed on an official made people feel that it was ridiculous. Severe punishment. This matter must be severely punished. The minister's opinions reached a high level of unity. The actions of the officials of Su Bei were undoubtedly trampling on the authority of the imperial court. From the emperor to the ministers, no one could tolerate this. At the same time, the Prime Minister announced the decision to execute these people on the spot. The ministers once more began to quarrel over whether or not they should be escorted back and executed. Shang Junlin propped up his forehead with one hand, bored to death as he watched the red-faced officials argue. Suddenly, his gaze paused for a moment on an official who was pretending to be calm, but before he could be noticed, he lightly looked away. The bait had worked. In the end, neither side could convince the other, so they all turned to Shang Junlin and said, "Your Majesty, please make a decision." Let's do as Lord Fong says. Although those who felt that the officials should be escorted back to the capital were dissatisfied, they could only accept. After the court session, the officials dispersed, leaving the Prime Minister behind. I really didn't think that those people would be so bold as to even touch something sent by the imperial court. They probably think that the imperial court is too far away to do anything about Su Bei. They didn't even think about how His Majesty would tolerate others coveting his things. After staying in Su Bei for so long, they really think that they're the master of Su Bei. With such a big incident happening in the previous dynasty, the harem had also heard the news. Shen Yu saw Mu Shi's angry expression and found it a bit funny. Still angry? Aren't these people about to receive the punishment they deserve? Mu Shi, this servant just can't stand it. Shen Yu, I didn't expect Mu Shi to be someone who abhors evil. Mu Shi, Gongzi, don't make fun of this servant. This servant really can't understand why they would do such a thing. Shen Yu, power blinds the eyes. Since they couldn't control themselves, they should have known that there would be a day when they would pay for their sins. Shan Yu had dealt with many such people in his previous life. For power and money, some people could give up everything. A mere conscience was worthless in the eyes of those people. Shang Junlin asked the Prime Minister to stay behind to discuss the follow-up of the incident in Subei, as well as how to deal with the person who spread the rumors. This person hid very deeply in the imperial court. If it wasn't for Shang Junlin's deliberate delay in the incident in Subei, this person might not have exposed himself. Why did Your Majesty let Fong Jun execute those people on the spot? The Prime Minister was somewhat puzzled. According to the usual practice, those people should be escorted to the capital to receive the final trial. This way, it would be more beneficial for the imperial court and the imperial family to establish their power. Shang Junlin stood with his hands behind his back. When he heard the question, he turned around and said lightly, "I naturally have my reasons for doing so." After dealing with official business, Shang Junlin returned to Yuzhong Palace. Shan Yu was asking Mu Shi about the flower sent by Prince N. He thought about it and felt that this flower was a bit strange. This flower is also magical. Ever since it bloomed that day, there have been no signs of withering. After so many days, it's still blooming very well. Mu Shi had never seen a flower that could bloom for so long. What flower? Shang Junlin walked over. It's the flower sent by Prince N previously. Mu Shi said that the flower hasn't withered yet. I want to see it. This flower had been in the palace for so long and nothing had happened. There were also specialists who came to take a look at it and said that this flower was not poisonous. Shang Junlin also asked the imperial physicians to treat the palace servants who took care of the flower and confirmed that there were no problems with their bodies. If you want to see it, go ahead. Speaking of which, the date when this flower blooms is interesting. It happened to be a date that Shang Junlin had a deep memory of. If Your Majesty knows the specific time when it blooms, you might be even more surprised. Shan Yu mentioned the time. Shang Junlin silently calculated. What a coincidence. While they were talking, the two of them had already arrived at the place where the flower was placed. From afar, the flower bloomed beautifully among the other flowers and plants. When they got closer, Shan Yu did not know if it was an illusion, but he felt that the petals were leaning towards him. Shang Junlin also saw it. He looked at the flower and then looked at Shan Yu. There was a trace of uncertainty in his voice. This flower seems to like you very much. Chapter 129. Shan Yu had been thinking about this flower for the past few days. When he saw it today, he didn't feel anything special. It was just a beautiful flower. Hearing Shang Junlin's words, Shan Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Your Majesty, what are you talking about? It's just a flower. Halfway through his words, Shan Yu suddenly stopped because he found that the flower was swaying slightly with his movements. Shan Yu looked at Shang Junlin. Both of their eyes were full of disbelief. This flower. Shan Yu turned his head to look at the flower. The flower was swaying without any wind. The color of the petals was much lighter than when he first saw it. It was like a transparent jade. The petals were slightly curled and stretched outwards layer by layer. It was beautiful. Shang Junlin called a palace servant who was in charge of taking care of the flower. When you were taking care of the flower, did you find anything wrong with it? No, the palace servant thought for a while. No, there is one thing. This flower occasionally moves. Isn't it normal for it to be blown by the wind? Shang Junlin asked calmly. I dare not deceive you. There were several times when the flower moved, but there was no wind. The palace servant plopped down on his knees. I don't mean to blame you. Get up. Shan Yu saw that the palace servant was frightened by Shang Junlin, so he said helplessly. It seemed that the flower didn't move only because of him. Shan Yu was inexplicably relieved. Your Majesty, Why do you think Prince An sent such a flower from thousands of miles away? Shen Yu couldn't figure it out. Under his hint, the other vassals sent gold, silver, and jewelry in a very simple way. Only Prince An sent such a flower from afar. I've sent people to secretly investigate King An's fief, but they didn't find a second flower like this. It said that King An obtained this flower by chance and sent it over because he thought it was pretty. He even sent it along with a big gift. Shang Junlin didn't plan to keep the flower at first. He didn't feel at ease leaving something of unknown origin with Shen Yu. However, he felt that he would regret throwing the flower away. Prince An wouldn't dare to brazenly tamper with the things he sent over, so he kept the flower. Shan Yu continued to observe the flower. The branches and leaves were green, and it was about half the height of a person. There was only one flower, and it was surrounded by the branches and leaves like stars surrounding the moon. It seemed to be emitting a lustrous light. This flower can't really glow at night, right? Shan Yu couldn't help but think. Everything was covered by the curtain of night. It was as if this flower was the only source of light left between heaven and earth. It attracted creatures like moths to a flame. The petals unfolded to the extreme, revealing the white bead that was wrapped inside. What was that? Shan Yu couldn't help but get closer. He wanted to take a closer look, but he was suddenly pulled back to reality by a voice that rang in his ears. You? Shan Yu turned around. There was still confusion in his eyes. What? His hand was grabbed by the man. Shang Junlin stared at him. You wanted to pick that flower just now. After he finished speaking, he didn't wait for Shan Yu to respond. He held him tightly in his arms and took a step back. The way he looked at the flower became unfriendly. Wrapped in the man's biting cold breath, Shan Yu's muddled thoughts finally returned to normal. When he looked at the flower again, his eyes were filled with emotions. It was too strange. It seemed like he was the only one affected. Shan Yu suppressed the various thoughts in his mind. He patted Shang Junlin to comfort him. I'm fine. I misjudged it just now. Shang Junlin was still worried. He carefully checked Shan Yu's body. He was no longer curious about the flower. He carried him out. Eunuch Meng saw Shang Junlin carrying Shan Yu out. He hurriedly greeted him, Your Majesty. Summon Imperial Physician Gu. Shang Junlin didn't stop walking. He carried Shan Yu to the bedchamber. Eunuch Meng didn't dare to delay. He trotted to summon Imperial Physician Gu. Shan Yu carefully felt his body. He leaned against Shang Junlin's chest. I'm really fine. The flower didn't cause him any discomfort. Imperial Physician Gu was drying the medicine. He was called to Yuzhong Palace by Eunuch Meng. He thought something serious had happened. After entering, he saw that Shan Yu's face was normal. On the contrary, Shang Junlin's face didn't look good. After Imperial Physician Gu finished checking Shan Yu's pulse, he put down his hand. Something flashed in his mind, but it disappeared before he could catch it. Imperial Physician Gu asked Shen Yu a few more questions. Shen Yu answered them one by one. Imperial Physician Gu pondered, I want to take a look at the flower first. Shang Junlin ordered the palace servants to bring Imperial Physician Gu over. Not long after, Imperial Physician Gu came back. Your Majesty, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with your body. I went to take a look at the flower. It won't cause any harm to the human body. Although Imperial Physician Gu guaranteed that there was no problem, Shang Junlin was still scared. For the next few days, he had to keep an eye on Shen Yu at all times. He also didn't allow Shen Yu to see the flower again. However, Shen Yu really wanted to see it again. He later asked around. Other than him, no one else who came into contact with the flower showed any abnormal behavior. He wanted to know if what happened that day was inevitable or just a coincidence. Of course, after that day, Shang Junlin was very angry. He ordered people to clean up the place where the flower was placed. In fact, he also knew that it wasn't necessarily a problem with the flower. It was possible that someone did something to the place where the flower was placed. Wasn't Shan Yu plotted against on the day he entered the palace? Needless to say, they really did find something. It's a hallucinogenic drug. The dosage is very small. Imperial Physician Gu took the small piece of wood and put it under his nose to smell it. Such a small dosage won't have any effect on the human body. Just by smelling it, it will be quickly metabolized. No wonder we didn't find anything wrong with your body that day. Shang Junlin exuded a cold aura. The small piece of wood was found on the flower rack. It was obvious that someone deliberately put it there. Shang Junlin strictly guarded it, but he didn't expect that someone would still tamper with it. He ordered people to bring the flower rack over. Shang Junlin said coldly, "Imperial Physician Gu, see if there's anything else here." Imperial Physician Gu walked around the flower rack and shook his head, replying, "To your Majesty, there's nothing else." Shan Yu walked over with a veil. The veil was soaked with medicine, which was specially made by Imperial Physician Gu. Shan Yu's body was weaker than ordinary people. Many medicines that were not important to ordinary people could affect him. Shan Yu was also interested in the things that caused hallucinations. He wanted to take a look, so he thought of this method. The veil was not transparent, only revealing a pair of clear eyes. Shan Yu's eyes were very beautiful. The corners of his eyes were slightly raised. When he wasn't smiling, he gave people a feeling that he was smiling. Especially when half of his face was covered, the charm of his eyes was even more prominent. How was this piece of wood found? Shan Yu lowered his head and looked at the piece of wood that was placed on the small table. It was about 2 fingers wide, and the color of the flower rack was the same as the color of the flower rack. It was inlaid on the inside so it couldn't be found. This was an accident. When he saw Shan Yu, Shang Junlin's cold aura immediately disappeared. There was a little palace maid who was careless. When she was moving flowers, she accidentally knocked down the rack. This piece of wood fell out and was found by the palace maid in charge. The palace maid knew that the emperor was investigating, so she didn't dare to hide anything. When she found the piece of wood, she immediately reported it. What happened next was what Shan Yu saw. The flowers and plants were all moved to other places. Shan Yu walked around, but he didn't see the flower that Prince sent. He walked to Shang Junlin and poked his arm. "Your Majesty, where's the flower?" "I put it somewhere else." "Don't worry, I won't throw it away." Knowing that Shan Yu's abnormality that day had nothing to do with the flower, Shang Junlin's hostility towards the flower was not so big. "Who put this piece of wood in here?" "It's a clever idea. We're still investigating." Shang Junlin took advantage of the situation and put his arm around Shan Yu's waist and pulled him away. "You, don't get too close." The position of the piece of wood was next to the flower that Prince sent. No wonder Shan Yu was affected when he was near the flower. What does this person want to do? Let the emperor mistakenly think that Prince harmed me? When we catch the person, we'll know what they want to do. Shang Junlin's tone was gentle, but his eyes were cold. Shan Yu and Shang Junlin stayed here for a while. Eunuch Meng came in and said that a minister was looking for Shang Junlin. Shan Yu left with him. The person who entered the palace was the Prime Minister, and it was for the matter of Su Bei. The upper-level officials of Su Bei were arrested, leaving a large number of vacancies. These positions were temporarily filled by people sent by the imperial court, but this was not a long-term plan. They had to arrange for suitable officials as soon as possible. Not all of the local officials were in cahoots. This was especially true for the smaller cities around. There were quite a few responsible officials. Lord Fong selected some of them and transferred them to the main city to take up positions. There were also some minor officials who were already serving in the main city. Based on their strength, Fong Jun kept some of them and sent the rest to the smaller cities to temper themselves. The officials from the imperial court who had come with him to provide disaster relief were also called to the main city by him to temporarily take over some of their duties. Lord Ho and the others had operated in Su Bei for many years and had a deep foundation. Although they had now been captured, the network of connections they had left behind could not be cut off overnight. In order to clean up the mess, Fong Darren was very busy. Time passed quickly, and soon it was the day of the execution. The sky in Su Bei was still clear, and there was no sign of rain. Early in the morning, The common people who learned that Lord Ho and the others were about to be executed rushed to the execution site. Those who had passed away would not return, but they could at least see the culprits receive their due punishment. The criminals were escorted to the execution site. In the face of the bloody scene that was about to happen, not a single one of the common people showed any fear. There was excitement in their eyes, a desire to get rid of them as soon as possible, pleasure, and hatred, but there was no fear. Fong Darren sat on the main seat while Sun Zhao sat below. Sensing the angry glares from the execution site, he smiled and looked back. The time has come. The sharp blade was raised high and brought down. It was as if all the sins had been cut off. The smell of blood filled the air as a sacrifice to the souls of those who had died unjustly. Rumble, when the last person was executed, a large dark cloud drifted over and covered the scorching sun. The people watching the execution looked up in a daze, cold drops of water falling on their faces. It was raining. Right after these evil officials were executed, it was raining. The common people knelt in the direction of the imperial city and shouted, "Long live His Majesty!" Even Fong Jun, who was used to seeing big scenes, was at a loss for a moment when he personally experienced this moment. No one would have thought that the rain that Su Bei had been looking forward to for so long would fall at this moment and at such a time. When the news reached the imperial court, everyone was shocked. "Are you?" As soon as Shang Junlin walked in, he pulled the young man into his arms. Sometimes, I wonder if Yu is an immortal sent by the heavens and will return to the heavens after completing the mission? Or, Yu is a fairy among flowers. That flower will only show affection to Yu, and Yu can control the rain. As Shang Junlin spoke, he impatiently planted kisses on Shan Yu's face, as if he wanted to use this method to confirm Shan Yu's existence. Shan Yu worriedly touched Shang Junlin's forehead. What happened to His Majesty? Why did he start talking nonsense? Chapter 130. The kiss on his face was intimate and hurried. Shan Yu could feel the strong uneasiness coming from Shang Junlin. It was the first time he personally experienced such a big emotional fluctuation from Shang Junlin. "I'm not sick." Shang Junlin's lips were pressed against Shan Yu's forehead. His breath sprayed onto Shan Yu's skin. He grabbed Shan Yu's hand and placed it in his palm. "I'm not sick. Why did Your Majesty suddenly say such a thing? I'm just an ordinary person. How could I be the immortal that Your Majesty mentioned?" However, Shang Junlin couldn't listen to him now. He was trapped in his own conjecture. The more he thought about it, the more reasonable he felt it was. If you're not an immortal, how could you know so many things? How could he know that it would rain in Subei? Which one of the things that Shan Yu took out wasn't unprecedented? Shan Yu opened his mouth and found that he couldn't explain it. The matter of his rebirth was too shocking. He hadn't thought about whether to tell Shang Junlin. This was the biggest secret buried in his heart, and also his biggest trump card. However, he soon heard the main point from Shang Junlin's words. "It's raining in Subei?" The shocked expression on his face didn't seem to be fake. Shang Junlin stared at him for a while. "Shouldn't you have known about it long ago? Why would Your Majesty think that I knew about it long ago? If Your Majesty hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have known about it. Wasn't it you who made it rain in Subei?" As he spoke, Shang Junlin stared at Shan Yu's face, not missing a single change in his expression. "Why would Your Majesty think so?" Shan Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How could I make it rain in Subei? The time was set by Yu." Shang Junlin finally regained some rationality and sat down on the couch with Shen Yu in his arms. Subei sent back news that after the execution, there was a heavy rain in Subei. The rain lasted for several days. Now, the disaster in Subei has basically been alleviated. Why does Your Majesty think that the rain has something to do with me? Shan Yu raised his eyebrows. Because the time was too coincidental. It happened at the moment when the execution ended. Shang Junlin rubbed Shan Yu's fingers. When the news came back, His first reaction was that the rain had something to do with Shen Yu. Otherwise, how could he explain why Shen Yu chose such a time? At that moment, he was very glad that he didn't expose Shen Yu when he gave the order. Then, fear welled up in his heart. All kinds of mysteries were connected, and he increasingly felt that Shan Yu was a rumored immortal. Your Majesty, the rain in Subei really has nothing to do with me. I just checked the ancient books and found that there is a heavy rain in Subei every year at this time. So, I set the time before the heavy rain in previous years. If it doesn't rain, it won't cause any loss to us. If it rains, there will be more room for manipulation later. Shan Yu didn't want Shang Junlin to continue with this dangerous idea. He knew this man. If he really believed that he was an immortal who could leave at any time, he didn't know what he would do. And this sentence wasn't a lie. It was just that he had an extra memory of his previous life and was sure that it would rain during this time of year. As for the specific time of the rain, it would be after the execution, which he didn't expect. Your Majesty, if you don't believe me, you can read my notes. In order to calculate a relatively small range, Shan Yu had checked a lot of things about Subei during this period of time. He also copied down the time of the autumn rain and combined it with the later records of his previous life to deduce the approximate time range. Shan Yu's manuscripts were placed not far away. Shang Junlin's thoughts came back and remembered that Shan Yu had asked him for books. You asked for so many books at that time for this? Otherwise... Shan Yu looked at him reproachfully. Your Majesty, shouldn't you know that I have never liked to read these? I thought you had changed your taste. When Shan Yu mentioned it, Shang Junlin remembered that for a period of time, Shan Yu had stopped reading novels and turned to books that recorded the situation of various places. Shan Yu took the notes and put them in front of Shang Junlin. Your Majesty, take a look at them yourself. After Shang Junlin finished flipping through the notes, his tightly knitted brows gradually relaxed. At that time, I thought Your Majesty would ask. Shen Yu saw that Shang Junlin was no longer tense, and the stone in his heart was slightly lifted. He complained half-jokingly, if Your Majesty had asked at that time, I could have asked for a reward. What does you want? It's not too late to say it now. When the matter in Subei is over, Your Majesty, accompany me to the farmstead to stay for a few days. Every year at this time, I will stay for a few days. Shang Junlin was feeling guilty, so naturally, he would do whatever Shen Yu said. Yu has worked hard, Shang Junlin hugged her again, but I'm afraid that I can't make public the role that Yu played in this matter. This matter was too mysterious. If it was spread out, Shan Yu would be pushed to the forefront of the storm. It was not a good thing to be the focus of everyone's attention, especially because of such a mysterious matter. The common people feared the gods, but there were also some bold people who had thoughts that they shouldn't have. Moreover, there were still several forces hidden in the dark. They were enemies and not friends, so Shang Junlin didn't want to risk Shen Yu. Even if Your Majesty didn't say it, I would have asked Your Majesty to hide my existence. Moreover, I didn't do anything. Shen Yu always knew that gossip was a fearful thing. This matter could be said to be big or small. Hiding it from him was far less important than keeping it mysterious. It had to be said that this rain really came at the right time. The timing was so coincidental. If he didn't take advantage of such a good opportunity, it would be a waste of a God-given opportunity. The rain was very heavy, but no one complained. The people in Subei were almost crying with joy. There was also a kind of unreal feeling. They had waited for so long for the rain, but at this moment, it fell unexpectedly. After a long drought, there was no one who wasn't happy about this rain. Feng Jun was a very clear-headed person. After a moment of shock, he quickly realized that this was a very good opportunity to win the hearts of the people. The rain didn't stop for a day and night, but the rain became lighter. The cracked earth absorbed enough water, and the flowers and trees on the roadside also glowed with new vitality. The people, either wearing bamboo hats or straw raincoats, walked in the patter of rain. They felt the rain that didn't come easily, and also talked about the rain that they had been looking forward to for a long time. After waiting for several months, it finally rained. Yes, But do you think this rain is a reward for the court for punishing the corrupt officials? I think so. Otherwise, why didn't it rain earlier or later? Why did it rain when the heads of those corrupt officials fell to the ground? Disregarding human life, death is not to be regretted. The whole of Subei was talking about this rain, and the officials who were punished were also talked about. Originally, there were still remnants of power that wanted to stir up unrest, but after the rain, many of their subordinates ran away. To make matters worse, quite a few of them went to the government to report them, all for the sake of alleviating some of their sins. Because of this timely rain, the power that Lord Ho and the others had built up in Subei for many years was easily disintegrated. Let alone stirring up unrest, they should be thanking the heavens if they weren't arrested by the government. Fong Jun had issued a bounty, and the people of Subei had already decided that the drought was a punishment from the heavens for these corrupt officials, so they had no mercy on the remnants of power. If it weren't for them, would there have been no drought in Subei? This was what everyone thought. The news of Subei spread from the capital to all parts of the Great Huan. When the people who had been paying close attention to the disaster in Subei heard of it, it caused a great uproar. In the restaurants, tea houses, streets, and alleys, every place was talking about this matter. Have you heard? It's raining in Subei. Now we don't have to worry about Subei anymore. It rained after the corrupt officials were beheaded. Say, do you think the previous drought had something to do with these corrupt officials? Speaking of this, do you still remember the rumor that some time ago, there was a rumor that the drought in Subei was caused by dissatisfaction with His Majesty's methods and was deliberately causing a disaster? How could we not remember? That's simply nonsense. Not to mention anything else, even if they were really dissatisfied with His Majesty's methods, why would it be the drought in Subei and not the capital? The capital is clearly closer to His Majesty. They just want to deliberately smear His Majesty's reputation. I don't know what their intentions are, but when His Majesty sent people to behead the corrupt officials, the sky immediately started raining. It can be seen that even if the heavens are dissatisfied, it's not with His Majesty, but with those dog officials. Ever since His Majesty ascended the throne, our lives have indeed been getting better and better, and we don't have to worry about the enemy troops attacking the city gates at any time. I also don't understand why there are always people smearing His Majesty's reputation, saying that His Majesty willfully slaughters the innocent, saying that His Majesty is cruel and heartless. But ever since the new year, His Majesty has punished everyone who deserved it. If you say that punishing the guilty is also willfully slaughtering the innocent, then I have nothing to say. Now that you mention it, it seems to be true. Then, did His Majesty also have other secrets when he killed the officials? At that time, who didn't cry out for imperial censorship? What happened in the end? When looking at things, you can't just look at the surface. Whether those words that slandered His Majesty in the past were true or not, it would be good if the imperial court could also give an explanation. Doesn't the government have a suggestion box? How about we ask? As soon as these words were spoken, the surroundings fell silent. In the blink of an eye, the government received anonymous inquiries from the people. Those anonymous letters that could be solved by the subordinates would not be brought to the imperial court, but this matter was clearly not something they could control. They also wanted to know if there was any inside story. After thinking about it, the officials spoke of this matter during the morning court session. The officials looked at each other, mainly because there were many among them who didn't know the inside story. If there was really some inside story, then it would be fine, but if there wasn't. He Chengyu, Jiang Huiqing, Fong Jiai, I leave this matter to you. Don't let me down. This subject obeys. No one thought that Shang Junlin would leave this matter to three inexperienced officials. Some people subconsciously wanted to stand up and refute, but they were pulled back by the people beside them. It was obvious that he wanted to put Jiang Huiqing and the other two in an important position. They had never been able to influence His Majesty's decisions. Didn't Your Majesty plan to send the three of them to Subei? Why did you leave this matter to them? Shen Yu was clear about Shang Junlin's plan. Official Fang would be back soon with his people, and the officials sent by the imperial court would also be leaving soon. Don't you want to know who the mastermind behind the rumors is? You will know soon. Shang Junlin did not directly answer Shen Yu's question. Does your majesty want to use this matter to force that person to take action? Shen Yu asked. Seeing that Shang Junlin's reputation, which he had painstakingly accumulated, was being removed one by one and in turn made him more loved and respected by the people, how could the mastermind sit still? Chapter 131. It was clear that he could not sit still. In a certain private residence, a trembling servant knelt on the ground. A pile of shattered porcelain was scattered on the ground, and a servant was bleeding. It was obvious how the wound came about. A bunch of trash. You've ruined such a good situation. The man was so angry that his entire body trembled. Only now did he realize that every step the imperial court took was aimed at him. He prided himself on being smart, but he did not even realize that he had fallen into someone else's trap. And the emperor, he had clearly disdained these things. Who was it that influenced him to bring up old scores? The man could not figure it out. No one could accept that his many years of planning had been destroyed in one day. After venting his anger, the man forced himself to calm down. Tell me, what should we do now? Kneeling to the side, his trusted aide trembled as he raised his head. Sir, this matter. He wanted to say that at this point, the matter was no longer under their control. They could only think of a way to withdraw as quickly as possible and not let the fire spread to them. But when he saw the angry face of the man, he swallowed the rest of his words. Because he knew that this was not what the man wanted to hear. The emperor gave this matter to a few brats to handle. Should I say that he trusted himself too much, or that he underestimated the enemy too much? Under their careful planning, the matters of the past had already left a bad impression in the hearts of the people. Their original plan was to deepen this impression step by step until it reached a point where it could explode. Then they would ignite it. The matter of Su Bei was the best fuse. Just as the last step of their plan was about to succeed, who knew that there would be a sudden reversal? Not only did it change the impression of the emperor in the hearts of the people, it also dug out the seeds that they had worked so hard to plant. Now, there was no one outside who did not say that the emperor was wise and heroic, wholeheartedly devoted to the people, and was a good emperor. This was the complete opposite of what they had originally imagined. After Jiang Huaiqing and the other two received the decree, they were called to one side by the Prime Minister. His Majesty has given this matter to you because he trusts you, but it is also a test. I will not participate too much in this matter. Everything depends on you. Because of this matter, Jiang Huaiqing and the other two became even busier. They checked the files, understood the whole story, and announced the truth. Every step could not be wrong. Thus, a secret duel began. Brother Chengyu, have you noticed that our progress has been hindered recently? Jiang Huaiqing asked as he flipped through the files. In the beginning, things went very smoothly. Later on, no one knew when, but someone started to obstruct them openly and secretly. It was all very insignificant things. Even if it was brought out, it would be treated as an accident. Jiang Huaiqing was very sensitive to the emotions of others. He could feel that these people were doing this on purpose. Yes, we have. We just need to do what His Majesty ordered us to do. The rest will be taken care of. Naturally, the Hidden Dragon Guards also knew what was going on. The Hidden Dragon Guards were Shang Junlin's eyes and ears. Their discovery was equivalent to Shang Junlin's discovery. Your Majesty, why haven't you made your move yet? Shan Yu put down a white piece. In the pavilion, the two sat facing each other. On the chessboard, the black and white pieces fought intensely. We have to give them some time to catch their breath so that they don't cause any more trouble. Jiang Huaiqing and the other two were in the open while the Hidden Dragon Guards were in the dark. Those people who could not sit still gave themselves away. The Hidden Dragon Guards looked for clues and caught the tail of that person. That person won't take the risk to hurt Jiang Huaiqing and the rest, right? The Hidden Dragon Guards are following them. If they really make a move, I will not let them leave. A few days later, Jiang Huaiqing felt more and more that something was wrong. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he was being spied on. He didn't know if he was the only one who had this feeling, or if the other two also felt it. He found an opportunity to ask the other two secretly. The three of them exchanged glances and confirmed that they were not hallucinating. Someone was really watching them all the time. Other than Shang Junlin's additional orders, they were still working under the Prime Minister. It was only in the Prime Minister's residence that they did not feel like they were being watched. After finishing the tasks at hand, Jiang Huiqing hesitated for a while. In the end, he still told the Prime Minister about the strange things that happened recently. After the Prime Minister heard this, he ordered someone to serve the three of them hot tea. He then said, "You are not wrong. The things that His Majesty ordered you to do have affected the interests of some people. They will not let it go. However, you do not have to worry too much. Just do your jobs well." The Prime Minister's words gave them an answer and also hinted that their safety was a problem. After confirming their suspicions, the three of them continued to work on the tasks at hand. As the investigation deepened, the past was revealed one by one. The true faces of the officials who died unjustly and thought that they were innocent were also revealed. The past that was almost buried by time was revealed to the world again in a way that was completely different from the past. The discussions about Subei gradually decreased. Instead, they were replaced by the past that was buried in time. Because of what happened in Subei, the people still trusted the imperial court. The People's Newspaper was a news channel that was directly controlled by the imperial court. The news that was published in the newspaper was recognized by the people. Once the news was published, it caused a huge uproar. I said that His Majesty would not kill innocent people. Look at the people that were killed. Which one of them was not covered in sin and deserved to be killed? I remember that after the previous Prime Minister died, there were rumors everywhere about how he cared about the country and the people. He died under the tyrant's sword because he wanted to fight for the people. After his death, the tyrant was afraid of the rumors and changed the law. But today, the imperial court is telling us that the previous Prime Minister died because he obstructed the implementation of the new law. It was because he took the wealth of the people and bought and sold official titles. Why is it completely different from what we know? This was not the only time that similar situations occurred. The people went from shock and disbelief to numbness and then they became used to it. In the end, they even felt that it would be strange if they were not slapped in the face. It was also at this time that they realized that there was something wrong with the entire matter. Once or twice can be said to be an accident. So many times, could it be that every time is an accident? Someone said what they felt was not right. Actually, I also feel that something is not right. Think about it carefully. In the past, after His Majesty punished an official, would there be rumors that were unfavorable to His Majesty spread? Those people swore to say the so-called truth, and aroused dissatisfaction in our hearts toward His Majesty. Even in the matter of Subei this time, there were people who tirelessly poured dirty water on His Majesty. Now that you mention it, I remember. Just a while ago, I went to the tea house to drink tea and heard people say that the drought in Subei was because heaven was dissatisfied with His Majesty's actions. I've heard the same thing before. Me too. The people gathered around looked at each other and found that everyone seemed to have heard this before. The strangeness became more and more obvious. After a moment of silence, someone couldn't help but say, "This is man-made, right?" If we did not know what the imperial court was doing beforehand, would we have believed those people? So, the middle-aged man swallowed, from beginning to end, there were people who deliberately aroused our dissatisfaction with His Majesty. What do they want to do? Everyone faintly had an idea, but this idea was too rebellious, so no one dared to say it out loud. Lord Feng seems to be somewhat absent-minded today. Did something happen? After court, the aristocratic family officials gathered together to discuss the matter of Subei. With so many empty official positions in Subei, it would be a lie to say that they weren't envious. They still couldn't understand His Majesty's thoughts, so they could only prepare early. It would be best if they could send more aristocratic family officials over. After chatting for a while, someone noticed that Lord Feng wasn't in the mood. In fact, it wasn't just Lord Feng. Lord Duan, who was also a cabinet minister, also wasn't in the mood. The child in my family is naughty. I'm just thinking about how to discipline him. He's already so old, but he's still causing trouble. Lord Feng sighed. The other ministers also knew about this matter. The youngest son of the Feng family had taken a fancy to a commoner girl and was dead set on marrying her as his first wife. However, this young master had long been engaged to another daughter of an aristocratic family. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but look at another minister. Seeing that his expression wasn't too good, they tactfully skipped the topic. His Majesty has placed He Chengyu and the other two in an important position. Perhaps he will transfer them to Subei. Not necessarily. If he transfers a group of Jing officials over, the empty positions will be just right for them. It seems that His Majesty is determined to promote them. The Prime Minister also has a good impression of them. He takes them by his side and teaches them step by step. How many people in the world can receive such treatment? Ever since Shan Guijun entered the palace, His Majesty has truly changed a lot. When Lord Feng and the others first proposed to let the son of Duke Zhenbei enter the palace, they probably didn't think that there would be a day like this. They originally thought that sending in a son of an aristocratic family would be beneficial to the aristocratic families. Who would have thought that it would catalyze the conflict between His Majesty and the aristocratic families? He's just a sickly person. What can he accomplish? Lord Feng's mind was preoccupied and his tone wasn't very good. Speaking of which, Duke Zhenbei is also interesting. He doesn't take the legitimate son seriously and instead treats the son of a concubine like a treasure. In the end, he produced an ingrate who wholeheartedly favors outsiders. The topic unconsciously deviated to another topic. Lord Duan glanced at Lord Feng, who was more anxious than usual and slightly frowned. In the palace, Shan Yu received a visiting card from Duke Zhenbei. Because Shan Yu's birthday was approaching, Duke Zhenbei wanted to take this opportunity to repair the father-son relationship between him and Shan Yu. Shan Yu stroked the edge of the visiting card. His eyes were obscure. From childhood to adulthood, Duke Zhenbei had never celebrated his birthday for him. Now he remembered his birthday. Shang Junlin came over and took the visiting card from his hand. He glanced at it and threw it aside. "A Yu's birthday, I want to hold a grand celebration." This was Shan Yu's first birthday after entering the palace. Shang Junlin didn't want to make him feel wronged. Shan Yu didn't want to hold a grand celebration. The drought in the north of Su just passed. It's not suitable to hold a grand celebration at this time. I also don't like these things. Compared to being restrained in the hall with unfamiliar people, it's better to be with Your Majesty. Shang Junlin was very tempted by Shan Yu's proposal, but he also wanted to hold a grand celebration to tell the world that Shan Yu was the person in his heart. He didn't allow anyone to slander him. He wanted to be tied to Shan Yu in the hearts of the people. When someone mentioned one of them, they would definitely think of the other person. Your Majesty, don't you want to be alone with me? Seeing his hesitation, Shan Yu walked around the table to Shang Junlin's side. He raised his hand and put it on his shoulder. He leaned closer and whispered, "Except for Your Majesty and me, there won't be a third person. Your Majesty can do a lot of things for the whole day." "Anything?" Shang Junlin hugged Shan Yu's waist and asked in a hoarse voice. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.